This height is all the world has even seen lately. Limp Bizkit.
Excellent. This week on the program, it's Hitchcock's Notorious, just with way more exploding cars. It's Mission Impossible 2. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Ethan Cabin.
And we hate movies. Welcome to We Hate Movies. Thank you for tuning in. As always, that's right. We have accepted the mission to once again talk about a film from this quite entertaining franchise. This is Mission Impossible Part 2 from 2000.
Oh, I've seen this one. This is where they dropped the bomb on Saddam Hussein.
Oh, that's Hot Shots Part 2.
Fuck.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah,
You got to remember, this is the one with the rooster that's being
That's also Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, right. Yeah,
sure?
no, all my
Serious?
notes are about the love interest named Ramada. Is that wrong?
Also Hot Shots Part 2.
Damn it.
Which one is Ryan Stiles in?
Both of them.
That's both.
Trick question. No, I'm serious.
As a matter of fact, he's in both.
He's
Hot
mailman farmer in the first movie,
Right.
and then he plays some other guy on the.
Oh, no, I
in the
meant
second.
the Mission Impossible 2 or Hot Shots 2.
No, you know what? Ryan Stiles could have played one of these goons because these dudes are worthless.
Oh, yeah.
And this, I should mention, of
Absolutely.
course, is directed by John Woo.
Hell yeah.
Legendary John
Imagine
Woo.
that a Mission Impossible with Canadians
Oh, my God.
coming down because he's Canadian, right?
Yeah, put him
it's-
next to fucking Dominic Purcell, little baby Dominic Purcell.
Sure, why not?
Wall-to-wall Australians in this film, man.
Oh my God!
boy.
Of course, there's something they got like a discount or something when they were down there, right?
It must have been a hefty discount, man. This should be considered like an Australian motion picture.
It is.
All right, we've talked about it. Yeah, we're gonna ask for $50. We want $50 for you to shoot your little impossible mission here.
There's a $100 leaving town tax.
Now, also, can you put a Foster's in your movie?
No.
Also, could you break Yahoo Serious' neck for us?
Oh, dude.
Oh, that would be awesome.
He'd be great in one of these movies.
Top of the franchise if that happened. Though,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Put him in the role of this fucking Australian thing. It doesn't matter. You could put one of the Tarkins in here.
This Billy Baird character, I think his name is.
Yes.
Like, we'll get into it more later. I feel like I should have looked it up. He was probably some like big Aussie like TV guy or something, but like, give me Paul Hogan flying that helicopter, man.
hell
Anybody.
yes.
Someone we know.
Oh yes, Paul Hogan definitely. Remember he had some movie where he played an angel or something.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yes.
like,
great.
Fuck.
I think it's called No Heaven for Australians. Is that it?
That is it. Yeah,
It's like
that
they
is
won't let an
exactly it.
Australian man into
Yeah,
heaven. Is that the
St.
plot of-
Peter's like Vegemite? I don't think so.
The slogan of Australia, of course.
I know why you all want to hate me right now is because I want to hit play real quick.
Coming soon to theaters.
It's the VHS trailer game. America and Australia's favorite game about obsolete materials.
No proof to
This
that.
is,
Well,
at
that's
all.
I think maybe Australia's second favorite game show, because the first favorite game show of Australia, as everybody knows, is
boxing kangaroos.
no, Find the Guzzling.
Oh
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think that when they air it in Australian TV, it's called Guzz Hunt.
Oh yeah, dude. They
dude,
can
hunt that
siphon.
Guzz.
They're so good at
Hunt it up.
siphoning them.
All right, but
Yeah,
this is
Wilma
the
here. Wilma took her hockey mask, and we thought that was a nice stylistic
All right,
addition.
now we got to get a little class out of the VHS
the
trailer
closet
game
of
here.
There we go.
Which
so
is,
this-
by the way, a Mission Impossible.
It is a Mission Impossible, but not for you. You're in striking distance, Mr. Hunt.
Yeah,
I will say this is kind of like give you a little schedule for the end of the season here.
Oh, good idea, Steve.
This is we're in July, so there will be one here. There'll be one a full trailer game right now, and then there will be another trailer game on our Birdcage episode, which is broadcast live, and then on the Universal Soldier episode, which will be our last live episode of August. There will be a bumper with a huge VHS trailer game. That's the finale. That's where all the points will be awarded, and the winner will be crowned, and
Yep.
whomever wins will be able to choose an episode from the previous, from like the first 100 or so episodes of We Hate Movies fandom and redo it. So a redo episode it based upon whomever wins basically right now. The
Considering who's in this room, it's probably going to be a Star Wars.
It could be a Star Wars.
I bet
But the only archived Star Wars, I think, is Phantom
Phantom Menace. We could do Phantom Menace again.
Phantom Menace. Or Chris, actually, what do you want to do?
I was thinking the Phantom Menace.
Really? Okay.
Because I wasn't on that episode, and I feel like
got some dots.
Wow.
Tiger in the cage.
You know, I
there.
think we would pick the same episode.
Oh,
maybe.
I don't
Look
know.
at
So
us.
Chris has 49 big points.
This is big
They're
ones.
very big ones.
Eric has 41 medium-sized points.
No,
not
I
bad.
think there's some husky boys in there. Though.
They're girthy.
There's a few big points. Some are thinner.
And Andrew has 28 points. Still in the running.
It's child-sized points.
So you know how this goes. I'm going to do 5 clues. You know, whoever rings in, blah blah blah. If you get it wrong, you're not in the same round. Okay, so this is from the year 2000. Two clues here. One of the 3 movies I'm about to reveal has been a previous episode on this very show.
One of them.
And more interestingly, every single trailer on Mission Impossible 2 was directed by a woman. So there you go. 3
wow.
female directed
Okay.
films. Here we go.
Okay.
So, Game Master's Clue.
Sure.
Nice.
This rom-com is fantastical for 2 reasons. It involves a man getting telepathy and for positing that its lead, an embattled action star, is someone who can change and be able to get in touch with their feminine side. Andrew Jupin.
What women want.
That is 5 big points for
there you go.
Andrew
There you go.
Jupin.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
There you go. I'll see you next season, folks.
I feel like
The last score.
I need to go back in time to think of Mel Gibson as an action star.
Yes.
But he was.
He was.
Let me tell you something. Yes, he was.
And he is.
There's an attempt again, dude. Coming soon to On Screen Live's secret movie section.
Oh, I
Dude,
like
Dude,
this.
there's some dog shit like Mel Gibson. LOL, Mel Gibson, a cop working for IAB.
Okay.
Oh.
And it from the trailer, I can't even think of the fucking name of it right now, but from the trailer, it is clear Mel Gibson is in 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there were 7 of those released this year thus far. And also, of course, he's lending his wonderful face that doesn't look like it's seen the ravages of alcohol at all. He is putting his mouth towards the Jim Caviezel sex trafficking opus Sound of Freedom, I believe.
Oh,
it
that's
was.
that's
Sure.
burning up the box office.
Oh, yeah,
I hear.
here
See,
it comes.
I want a career like that. Not like that, but like,
Not like that.
you know, I pop in for 10 minutes of a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm out of there. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a huge check.
I mean,
Well,
he
first
probably
we-
did.
Step 1, get pulled over for drunk driving.
Okay.
Step 2, call the officer pulling you over
Okay.
sugar tits.
Sugar tits.
Step
Sugar
3,
tits.
proceed to rant about Jews endlessly. Step 4, be sure someone is taping.
But
That's just a start,
devil's
by the way.
advocate. Sugar tits are complimenting the young lady. It's true. Another thing, and if they're running the world, I mean, my God, they must be smart to do
What-
that.
what-
All right. You know what? Let's get into round 2 here,
Round
folks.
2.
What happened to chivalry is what I want to know.
It's a great question. Game Master's Clue. This small-time crime comedy caper centered on local news paired a TV star actress and a venerable Eric Siska.
Lucky numbers.
It is lucky
Oh,
numbers
wow.
for 5 big points.
That's a big one.
Wow.
You think about that, right? Like a TV station thing, it's got to be lucky numbers.
It's
Yes.
got to be lucky numbers.
Anything.
There was back in the multiplex days, quick lucky numbers story.
Please.
Hell yeah.
It was not me because I would totally cop to it if I did it. Another projectionist building up the print for that movie put some of the reels out of order.
Huh.
Like just 2 of the reels were swapped or something. And literally nobody going to the movie noticed at the theater until like the Sunday afternoon. Someone like finally came out and was like, I think the movie's out of order. And dude, it had been in release for 48 hours.
That is
LOL.
insane.
We saw that together. I think we had one
Yep.
of those preview screens.
Very
Yeah.
avant-garde picture where stuff happened out of order.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, you're really going for it.
Did Tarantino do this one too? All right. Round 3, the final round.
Ooh.
Game Master's Clue.
Sick.
This 70s set film was the breakthrough for its Nepo baby auteur, leading a second generation of that directing dynasty. It featured a dreamy sign, Andrew Jupin.
The Virgin Suicide.
It is the
Nice.
Virgin
There you go.
Suicide.
Wow, look at that.
Hey, Chris, you shut the fuck out.
Shut. I mean,
Boom.
Chris is also shut
I'm
the
still
fuck up.
in the lead, so
He
fuck
is,
you.
so-
You are in the listen. You're
we've
gonna win. You're
No,
gonna
I
win.
know, I understand. Fuck you.
No,
Chris-
but this is a rivalry. People love these in sports.
Sure, of
We're trying.
course.
I'm trying to get jocks into the
Uh-huh.
show.
I
So
understand.
it's sort of like, I'm the Yankees, you're the Red Sox, kind of animosity.
There you go.
Sure.
We're playing it up for, obviously
We're both from New York, so maybe
the color commentary that'll be on the news about this it'll
news.
juke our numbers, both of
So
us.
here's the
news,
thing.
okay.
Now, Chris is 49.
Yeah.
Eric has 46.
Mm.
And Andrew now in striking distance, 38 points. It's
Yeah.
a huge,
Nice.
Now
huge
it's a
round
tight
for
game.
him.
Now
I
it's
like
a
it.
game. Now it's a game.
Now it's a game. We'll see. We'll
And
see.
we have we added the birdcage?
We will
numbers
not
yet?
add the birdcage
Okay,
points until that
there we go.
airs, and
Yeah.
then there will be the finale on Universal Soldier. So see us all here this summer, folks.
That's right. That is right. Yeah, every time one of these Mission Impossible movies comes out, like which Dead Reckoning is out, well, if you're going to the fan event, you can see it today when this episode
my
airs.
God.
But
Oh, the fan event.
yeah, we're talking a Wednesday release. I go through the series, and now I watched this one last just because I didn't want to watch it 2 weeks ago and then rewatch it or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is probably the one I go back and forth with the most. And this time, for me at least, it was a real there's obviously competent action here, but I will say this. We mentioned this on the We Love Movies episode for Mission Impossible. George Lucas telling Brian De Palma to get all the lovey-dovey sex stuff out of the movie. Lucas was right, man. There's way more of it in this movie. And while it is indeed sexy because it's Tom Cruise and fucking Thandiwe Newton doing it up, not for Mission Impossible.
But that's the thing. I think part of because I've grown to like this a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
It is
Everybody in theaters, by the way?
yes.
No.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
rented.
I was
wow.
in theaters.
In
By the way,
theaters.
that trailer,
No, I definitely saw this in theaters. Who am I
that
kidding?
trailer lit the
Oh,
world on
yeah,
fire.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
just him crawling up the mountain or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I fucking love. I think about that every single day of my life.
Used to be an art form, Eric.
It used
that's
to be
right.
an art form.
Instead of just
Movies,
telling me
too.
the entire fucking thing from the. Never mind.
So go
But
ahead
anyway,
with your story.
what it is
Yeah.
I think a very palpable John Woo movie.
Sure.
All that it is
Yeah.
so potently just all of his stuff, and he doesn't care that it doesn't necessarily translate to an American audience, despite this being the most American fucking.
But I
thing.
mean, John Woo had other action movies that did translate to American audiences. It just
I
so
know.
happened they weren't anchored
Right.
to franchises. If you had this movie and you just called it Renegade Spy or
Yes.
something
Or
else,
the Chimera fucking
Yes.
experiment.
exactly.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people out there, because I think this one gets done dirty the most, and I
Yes.
think people would be more accepting of it
Yeah.
if it wasn't
Because
in Mission Impossible.
I'm team sort of mediocre on this one. It's
Yeah.
fun. There's a lot of cool action, yada
There
yada.
is. But I do think
There's a
there's
lot of
something
downtime
There's a
too.
lot of downtime.
like Brian De Palma's stuff is not. It is very action packed and very exciting. But I think John Woo adds something here into the stew that is still around today.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
He
Like-
created the spectacle part
Exactly,
of it. Or not
yeah,
created,
right.
but obviously the ending of the train with the blah 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 is spectacle. But this movie really pushes the spectacle button, and they
It
keep
does.
pushing
And-
the spectacle
and
button
in-
henceforth.
in even cartoony ways, which we still have today. And it's
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's fun and thrilling. I think the real problem is, yeah, the love story maybe doesn't work. Apparently, that's why John Woo really wanted to do the movie.
Yeah.
Which is
I think the
weird.
love story is kind of interesting. at
I
least.
mean, I like it. I kind of that's part of the reason. The John Woo movies have these kinds of romances, these crazy we're just two misunderstood crime doers.
There's a bizarre sexual back and forth
Yeah.
and fucking hard target.
Yeah,
Right,
I
yeah.
think Face Off and Broken Arrow, he didn't go full flag. I think because they did so well with having Brian De Palma just do his thing. They were like, John Woo, do whatever you want to do, man. Just do your thing.
Which turns out to that is an interesting idea, right? Here's this franchise, and we're gonna get director. Each film is gonna have a director with a very, signature style. And then what do they do in the third movie? Just hire J.J. Abrams, which is the world's most successful gun for hire kind of director. And that all falls to nothing. And I think that sort of is the plug from the dam. This is hardcore, the Tom Cruise show.
and
the
then it
third
becomes
one-
and then it becomes the Minister of Information, Christopher McQuarrie.
Yes.
Well,
Tom Cruise is the Minister of Information.
briefly,
Yeah,
the
right.
Incredibles guy in Ghost Protocol.
Oh, that's right.
I
Yes.
love Ghost Protocol.
I do too. I really love that. I rewatched that one.
I think part of the reason people reacted badly to this also is because it is such an enormous shift from Brian De Palma.
It is.
Like that is a spy movie that also has action set pieces. This is an action movie. The spy stuff kind of is non-existent to me.
Sorry, I would
No, go
argue it's in it way more than I remembered it being, though. There is way more of slow spy stuff in this movie as opposed to like breakneck action. Like a large chunk of the beginning of this movie, I would argue is kind of slower.
There's actually kind of a clever part about that, because if you notice in this, Tom Cruise doesn't fire a gun in the first movie, famously, and then in this movie he doesn't fire a gun until that big biosite sequence, which is kind of interesting because
then he fires 1,000 bullets.
Then he fires 1,000 bullets. But
John Woo movie.
It's because it's kind of smart in that way, because Dougray Scott as Ambrose.
Who?
Dougray Scott.
The ghost, you mean? The ghost that's in the
Could
movie?
you imagine giving birth and naming it Dougray?
But let me finish my point.
Dougray.
Please, no, go ahead.
See, now you know how I feel all
Exactly.
the time. All right.
Dougray Scott, he makes the thing where it's like, oh, Ethan Hunt wants to do subterfuge, et cetera, but I want to blow shit up. So then he has to sort of, it's Ethan Hunt having to play by Sean Ambrose's rules
totally.
for the rest of the movie.
That's
and
a great
turns into a
point.
great breakneck action movie. And then kind of the rest of the series becomes that, which is fine.
Right.
And the third movie, I actually really like still. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. I love the MacGuffin just being a MacGuffin or whatever. The whole mystery
Rabbit's
box garbage
Yeah, the
actually
rabbit's
worked
foot,
for me
that's
there.
right.
Yeah, the rabbit's foot.
Yes,
But
sir.
that's, we're talking about the love angles here. I mean, that movie also has it where he's contained into this relationship,
Well, yeah.
but it's really used against him. And I guess that does happen here, but
Well, I think neither these two, De Palma one and the Wu one, are the two where they actually brought on stylists. Like Brad Bird and J.J. Abrams are very good at the mechanics of blockbusters.
Yep. Sure.
They make efficient, big movies.
The technical directors.
And they're very good at it. Even when they fail, I think they're very good at it. And then Macquarie, that sets the stage for Macquarie to me, which has made this very consistent, not very stylish, but it's a Tom Cruise movie.
Yes.
And it has, I think it's worked. For the most, it's my second favorite franchise. Alien's always going to be number one.
Okay.
And I think this is always going to be number two. The consistency in the one, like this is probably, this or three is the lowest one for me. And I like them both.
Right.
It's also like when Harry Potter, those movies found David Yates. They're just like, you know what I mean? Like they just sort of like slowed down and
Here's
they're like,
the guy.
This guy could do what we want these movies to look like. And that's what we're going to do forever.
He is Typhoid Mary for this too dark shit, though.
Yes. Yeah,
when
he
you
is.
can't see anything in the fucking frame. He is
true.
the first guy to really press that shit. Yeah. And like as much as that, like I think the first one he did, I thought was pretty cool. But ever since, it's just been a disaster.
He comes in the fifth movie, I think.
believe so.
Fourth or fifth, I forget.
Goblet or
yeah, I mean the fifth one, I remember being in the theater like I can't see a fucking thing in this movie, and it just continued from there.
Two things about Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
One, it was the highest grossing movie of that year, which is kind of incredible. Number two, got nominated for a couple of Razzies. And the only actor of the film nominated for a Razzie
let me guess.
was Tandy Newton, if you can
Wow,
believe it.
what
If
a
you can believe that.
What a
Strange.
shock.
Huh.
Unbelievable. And I think she's really good in this.
She's
movie.
great.
She's great in
a
most things.
highlight of this movie.
Yeah.
it's got, I mean, it's like when I say action, I mean like the way people talk to each other, all this stuff. It's not very like quiet talk, technical talk, all that stuff. It's like big romantic, like, I will find you.
Yes.
I will find you,
Yeah,
Willie,
totally.
and I will free you.
Yeah.
That's probably got to be a stay tuned, right?
Oh my
I've
God.
never
Free
seen Free Willy.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
sweet
dude.
Jesus.
We were
should do
clamshell casing it in my house.
Oh
dude.
man, we will. I believe. Yeah. I think we have to do at least 20 minutes on the Michael Jackson song, for sure.
It's not a terrible song.
It's pretty bad.
Well,
But
I'll tell you this, dude. It is a family film with Michael Madsen as like the fatherly
Very-
figure.
Oh, I love that.
he's very
Oof,
gentle in that
and
movie.
Michael Jackson, that guy loved to free a Willie.
He did indeed. Eric.
Excellent.
Are you going to all day, little whale, or are you going to fuck up this yacht?
No, yeah. I talked to them. I don't know. I put it on the resi a couple years ago.
Free Willy, way better if it ends with Michael Madsen being consumed by a rogue orca.
That would be amazing, right? Because now they're working together. They're fighting mankind. It's amazing.
I gotta tell you, this movie starts with one of my favorites, the guy who made the most money off the movie The Saint, because after that he was allowed to be in movies doing this thing.
Baby.
Yep.
Rade Serbedzija. I love that dude.
My man.
Love that
Yeah,
dude.
he's great.
Fucking rules. Of course,
Dimitri.
famously never takes his coat off in Taken 2,
Uh-huh.
which I believe is a long thread in our Taken 2 commentary we
Certainly.
released 100 years
There's
ago.
just words that he says that just stick in my brain to me, like Bellerophon. Like,
yep.
just immediately. It's like I remember that now. I shouldn't, but
Chimera. It's like he's narrating Mortal Kombat.
It is so it's a weird opening because it's just like it isn't hello Mr. Hunt, choose to accept this movie. It's like, well, Dimitri, here we are again. I'm like, did I watch? This is like when I went to go see Spectre. They started playing Spotlight. It was like Boston, 1976, and I was like, "Is this the right movie?" And it turned out to not be the right one.
James Bond gets molested as a child. That's why he turns into a killing person.
I was born James Bondowski. I grew up on the docks before I moved to London.
Oh, Dimitri, there's so much problem going on.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about like his fellow scientist buddy succumbed to this chimera virus, and you don't exactly know why, but he's got to get to Atlanta in 20 hours and this, that, and the
I just
other
thought he got a
thing.
shitty connector. You know what I mean? Like it just happens.
Yeah, he's
Dimitri, you have to save me from this layover.
We must be there in 20 hours for the bathroom on this flight has been. It does not work. There's a paper sign. It worked when we got on, but not now.
Fucking Delta. I go from Sydney. I want to go Russia. They put me through to Atlanta. They always put you through to Atlanta.
Man, yeah, Sydney to Atlanta. That's a hell of a flight.
And
Yeah.
here's a question that I have about the au revoir of this film, because this franchise. I think Ethan Hunt is sleeping with a lot more of these people than he leads on, because like
Everyone he knows. Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, oh,
Everyone.
Dimitri, you're the only one I would trust. Oh, you have to ferry me there, Dimitri.
I suppose so, Steve. You wonder about this an awful lot. I think they just might be close friends.
I think they're S and
Yeah,
S&F.
maybe. Just but think of that, like dun dun dun, kissy kissy.
Exactly. I think
Do you
that
think he's like pumping along to the Lalo Schifrin theme
Yes,
song?
yes.
In, out,
Yes.
in, out, in, out, in, out, in.
He's dedicated. We know that about Tom Cruise. I think he would do it for Ethan.
nipple play.
Now put the firework in my ass and light the fuse.
I
Dun,
remember.
dun, dun, dun.
I remember those cold nights in Zurich.
Because I think that's what happens. The ones we don't see, it's like your mission. If you choose to, it's another sex one. Okay, I'll fuck
And
that. All
that.
right, yeah, I can do that.
it's genius on the IMF's part. No one's going to say no.
Exactly.
I think this is also very clearly the horniest of all
Oh
these.
my God! By
Without a question.
country mile.
I
Yes.
think it's quite. The first one's got something going
Yeah,
on
oh, yeah,
there
it's
with
a
the
De Palma movie,
yeah.
my
I
God.
mean, please.
Well, I rewatched Fallout yesterday, and what's her face? Rebecca
Ferguson.
Ferguson. No, not Rebecca Ferguson. Sorry, the blonde girl.
Vanessa Kirby.
Yes,
Yeah,
Vanessa Kirby is super fucking horny in that movie.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Out of control horniness.
Yeah.
It's wild shit.
It's
Got a diffuser.
I'm hoping Estrada brings the energy as
Yeah.
well.
But it's like, oh, Dimitri, we are going to Atlanta together. Thank you so much for riding to Atlanta.
And it's, you're like, yeah, what is this? Some sort of weird, like, he's fleeing his
Yeah.
war-torn country drama. Like, what is this? And, then it's like, oh, the pilot's got some bad news about the air pressure in the cabin. Better drop the masks here. And you're like, these people are getting gas.
I would like the minute those things go, I'm like, I'm dead. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not like, yeah, maybe we make it out of this,
Sure.
but like, I'm see them. Oh, there's death. Hello, the specter of death.
I luckily have never been on a flight where they had to drop those for whatever reason, but you must imagine the ones that come out okay when you're deplaning, the fucking feces and piss smell just from everybody just evacuating the bowels of terror.
It's like a regular flight then.
It's a Spirit Airlines flight. Yeah, exactly.
No, I would lose dignity immediately if that thing popped down.
Yep, absolutely.
You start screaming.
Crying, like throwing babies aside.
Totally.
No, let me live.
Absolutely.
This has been such a waste.
Where's the break in the hull? I'll shove this baby on it.
Starts screaming, I need to get out of here. Just opens the emergency door, flies out.
Well, that's pretty much what's going on here, because we have Tom Cruise is like, oh, I'll go get up and see what's going on. And then he comes back and sits down, and dude, we're ripping that mask off, and here's Dougray Scott, and you're like, oh, interesting. And so it's Dougray Scott and his team of thugs, including William Mapother, which is Tom Cruise's cousin.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
I guess like he's like the hacker of the group, but he literally has one line in the movie.
Yep.
So who could care? And then like a couple other dead meats. And then the British fella.
Richard
here.
Roxburgh.
Yes, Richard Roxburgh, who's been heavy in some other things, I think.
He does this kind of role.
He was Dracula in Van Helsing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that was him?
Yeah, and he's also in a movie I haven't seen in a little while, Moulin Rouge, in some way, shape, or form.
Oh. Well, that's
I bet you he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I would wager as much.
I would think, yeah.
Well, it's hilarious because he's like pretending to be the pilot, and the co-pilot like has the mask on and looks over like, Captain, why aren't you and passes out, which is really great. And yeah, he sets the plane on a crash course for a mountain, and all these dudes jump out a hole in the floor, and we get some cool. You're skydiving, and like the wind is like whipping you away from the plane.
Dougray
cool
Scott
stuff.
does chop Rhames' neck and then break it, which is pretty fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
And that's when you're like, because he does that with the Ethan Hunt mask
exactly.
on, and you're kind of like, I remember being in the theater like, well, that's a little too violent for Ethan Hunt. Little did I know, at that time, 23 years ago, I was being set up for the most mask play in any Mission Impossible. This is mask happy, dude. And I would argue a scotch too much mask play.
It's fun though sometimes.
It's fine. I mean, like I think they better use it. The use of it is much better in 3. That whole scene is really good with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
When he's like telling the guard, wait a minute, while the voice uploads. It's great.
I mean, Dougray Scott doing this. I mean, that I hate doing this because it is so rare for me that like the actor is the problem for me in a movie. That it so rarely happens. But you have him going up against charisma atom bomb Tom Cruise. And it makes almost all the tension in this movie drain right out for me. And even from this moment, like when he takes off, I'm like, okay. It's a guy. It's a guy. It was John Voight last time.
Oh my God! It's another guy.
It's just a guy.
It's a guy. It's not Tom Cruise. It's just some guy.
He took off his mask. There's another guy under there. Oh my God!
Holy
100%.
crap! There's a couple of guys in this movie.
This was exactly the audience's reaction to that. Oh, it's a guy. Who's the guy?
Well, what had he been known for?
Great question.
I was looking this up. The best I could get, I think he probably had some heat because he gets this, and famously he gets X-Men as well that he had to drop out of, because I thought I always misunderstood that story to be he chose Mission Impossible over X-Men.
Oh no,
no, but he was in Mission Impossible. It ran long. He hurt himself, and then they had to drop him out.
Yeah, this production fucked. Fucked his life.
Could you imagine him as Wolverine?
I don't think it would be as good.
Honestly, thank goodness.
Yes,
like really. I mean,
because Jackman's got
great.
it. This guy kind of does it. The heat off of the movie, I believe, Ever After, which was kind of a thing. I think he's the male lead in the movie Ever After.
What's just Drew some Barrymore. Guy in that movie? Ever After? Yeah, no, I went to see it. It was just some guy.
It's Prince guy. It's Prince some guy.
Right? It's crazy. So you got a movie here, Ever After. You got, of course, a famous person, Drew Barrymore. And then there's some guy in the movie.
I was reading the script for Mission Impossible 2. We need a guy in that.
Why don't you get the guy from that movie? He can be the guy in this movie.
Excuse me. guy on a budget. Let's make that very clear. We need a guy on a budget.
I think they must have learned their lesson though, man, because the very next movie it's
Philip
Fox, man.
Seymour Hoffman.
Then Ghost Protocol's the fella from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Mikhail.
Again, we start going into some guy. I mean,
No, but that guy had heat, dude, because
John Wick. He's the bad guy in John
Girl
Wick.
with Dragon Tattoo was also very big.
Yeah.
I like the dude, the Irish guy from those latter.
Sean. The guy who plays Lane.
Sean Harris?
Yes.
Sean Harris. He's
Sean
great
Harris.
in a movie with Joel Edgerton of this year, which is, I forget what it's called. It's a really slow burn movie about Joel Edgerton being undercover. It's a really cool movie.
Oh, that's pretty. He's in, I believe, this Irish movie called 71, which I thought was quite.
You know what's funny is I'm
fantastic.
rewatching Rogue Nation or whatever, and there's like they do the sketch of Solomon Lane or whatever,
Solomon Lane, yeah,
which is Sean Harris. And I'm like, kind of looks just like Simon Pegg in this sketch.
It totally does.
The Stranger, by the way, from 2022. Check it
Oh,
out.
okay.
Sean Harris, for me, he is Ian Curtis in 24-Hour Party
Sure.
People.
Yeah.
A great performance.
Yep.
He's not just a guy.
No, he's got a face and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, these are all people with heat on them
Yeah.
Right.
going into these movies. So, Dougray Scott, whatever, dude. You won the lottery.
That's the
with this.
thing is like it's fine. Like I think what they're trying to do with them as like connected and knowing everything about
Yeah.
each other would work better with a bigger star.
Sure.
But like he's fine. Like he's in that Ripley's Game. He's not a bad actor. I just think it's such a
right.
bad idea for this particular movie.
Well, it's too gritty and too subdued. Like it's
Yes.
all internal stuff. You know what I mean? Like I think
Plays the creep very well.
Yes.
But like all the other stuff just goes to pot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ethan Hunt is on. I wouldn't call this a vacation. But this just sounds like a fucking. It's a death wish, obviously.
It's all about what you're into, though, dude, because look at it this way. You call camping a vacation, and I would never in my fucking life say that about
Fair enough.
camping. So for some people, yeah, this dangerous free soloing shit, maybe it centers you, maybe whatever. Not in 1,000 years for anyone in this room. But this
it's
was
an awesome
like,
opening.
It's
an
awesome.
man.
I mean, it's so famous that when the movie started, I was like, ain't he supposed to be on the top of a mountain, right?
Yes, yeah.
Because I just think like, well, that of course must be the cold open of this movie. But when we finally get to it, he's free soloing up this rock. He's listening to Aiko, which again, if it centers
You
you
know
while
what?
you're rock climbing, fine.
We got to talk about the music in this fucking movie.
Sure.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
The Limp Bizkit is terrible. Then we got like Enya shit hanging out in the back end.
Yes.
Metallica.
Metallica and
The best part is the flamenco dancing, honestly.
You know what?
That's
Even
okay.
that
Yeah,
can
stuff.
fuck itself. That fucking we're noodling a Spaniard's guitar while we're kissing each other. Like, come on.
Going a little too far with the flamenco.
I mean-
I won't be hearing the disparagement.
He's just a guy whose ears really despise the sound of classical acoustic guitar.
I do. No, and I understand why maybe some of this stuff makes sense, especially like Wu wants to go kind of bigger with
Oh
their
yeah,
stuff.
that
but,
makes sense.
But I'm just like, it's not doing it for me.
I got to tell you that Limp Bizkit, the Limp Bizkit song. I listened to both the Metallica and Limp Bizkit song on the way up here. And Limp Bizkit song, you will forget because the music starts and I'm like, oh shit, is this song awesome? And then
The
No.
lyrics
and then
begin.
fucking Fred Durst shows up. You're like, oh wait,
Yes.
now it sucks
Yes.
worse
That-
than
And
anything
it
I've
sound-
ever heard.
It sounds like he forgets what the lyrics are halfway through. It's like
Yes.
Mission Possible. Yeah.
Because that has always been the catch-22 of that band.
Yes.
Is Wes Borland is a fucking great guitar player.
Oh yeah,
And
Late
Fred
90s
Durst is Fred Durst.
yeah.
And do with that what you will.
Because it's like late 90s cool chunky guitar if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. And I'm like, oh cool. It's like Bardo Badom. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, and DJ Lethal's scratching it up.
Sure.
I also whoever is in charge. I don't know if he does
Don't
it
worry, dude.
himself or if he has a team. I assume he has a team. Whoever is handling the makeup on Wes Borland that makes him look like a Babylon 5 villain every time he gets on
Sure, yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
I really do. I love it. I think they're doing great.
I think that is one of the biggest wastes of time. Just get your ass out there and play the guitar.
Do you want to be photographed with one Fred Durst?
Well,
Do
well,
you want
also-
to be photographed
hold
looking
on.
like a possessed member of ICP?
One, please, right over here.
Because he's got this. It's a look. You know, whatever you don't. If you don't like the makeup, you don't like the makeup. But if
Even
you took
Kiss
it off,
fucking gave it up, dude.
if you took it off,
Yeah.
you'd be saying, "Yeah, it's just some guy."
Yeah. I kind of miss it. I don't know. I kind of miss it.
I went to see Limp Bizkit.
When Fred Durst, and then there was just some guy.
They fired Wes Borland.
Holy
He's
shit.
not there.
You see what happened? They fired the haunted clown guy, and they just got some other guy.
Haunted clown is a perfect description.
It is
But
one.
I think we said this off the air, but they certainly knew that production, Paramount, knew what they had with that song.
Yeah.
Because you only hear the Wes Borland guitars in this movie. There is nary a Fred Durst vocal line in this movie.
They play the entire, and the credits, they play the entirety of the Metallica song, which was enormous and not very good.
Yeah.
And then like there's like a little clip of the what do you call it? Like it's during the fucking like no animals were harmed. You're hearing, now I know why you want to hate me. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
right. You're right.
Yes.
It is at the very end.
Yes.
You're right.
Now,
to be
is it
fair.
true? I think I glanced this on the Tribune trivia that that Metallica song was the one that leaked to Napster
It
and
was.
started the loss.
It was. Yeah.
It's insane.
The Typhoid Mary, really.
Yes. We do love that expression in this movie.
We're very fond of it.
But this, the whole free climb thing here, I mean, this is the first spectacle stunts. There's
Yes.
stunts and shit in the first
Yes.
movie, but there's not spectacle stuff. And like the train stuff with Voight is great, but it's all fake.
Exactly.
Right.
This is a real deal thing. Like, yes, they digitally removed wires from Cruise, which is, I mean, it's still impressive as fuck.
Loser.
Yeah, I could do that. Fucking wires.
I mean,
Yeah.
you wire me up, I'll fucking climb any mountain you want. I mean, Christ.
Exactly.
Said all the cool dudes on the internet after
Hey.
they
Yeah,
saw
You
this
see,
movie.
they digitally removed all the piss on his pants.
I mean,
You see that? Because you would be letting go. I know.
William Shatner in like his 50s can do it.
Yeah. Go climb a rock.
we can all do it.
We can do it.
Go climb a rock.
That's that's the T-shirt I'm wearing on the bridge. But yeah, it's a crazy thing. Like Wu didn't want him to do it. There are a couple stunt dudes for some of the things, but it is Tom Cruise up there putting his life on the line in this movie, and it fucking rules.
He wants to do that, and he also does it in the knife scene, which we'll talk about later, which is
Oh,
insane.
That's real
Awesome.
dumb. That
Yeah.
one's real fucking stupid.
But a great moment of the film. I
Yes.
really do.
oh,
like
yeah,
that
man.
no, it's great.
scene.
But the insistence to use a real knife there is fucking
Because
dumb.
I mean, again, this is when Tom Cruise. I mean, like he's obviously asserted himself. Like he and De Palma got into a lot of fights in the last movie, but this is when he's like, "No, I know what these movies need to be, and it's going to be about me
Right.
defying death each and every time, at least once or twice."
And apparently even picked the director or
Yeah.
whatever. So like this has become the Tom Cruise show officially here.
Right.
To the point which goes all the way down to catering, folks. I saw this in the trivia as well, that he demanded there be cold bananas on this set.
Cold bananas.
The bananas must be cold.
Well, that says don't like them hot. That's how that works.
Oh yeah.
The bananas are chilly today, not cold. What did I say? Don't put them in the fridge. Put them in a bowl of ice like I asked.
Congratulations, we're shut down for the week.
I will say there is because there is that like asshole side to Tom Cruise, a very large asshole side, depending on who you hear, and it comes out in some of these movies. It comes out in this one when he's on the balcony with Tandy Newton and they're fighting about like, do you want to do this mission or not? And he's like, would it make you feel any better if he's like, would it make you feel any better if I told you I didn't want you to do it? And she's like, yeah, it would. He's like, well, feel better. It's just like this real like
Yes.
your fucking keys are in the fucking, you know what I mean? It's a real like dude fight element.
I believe that's the scene that I think it was a Vulture interview that Thandiwe did a couple years ago, where she talked about that, and she was like, that fucking sucked because he was trying to like just tell me how he wanted me to do it, and it wasn't working out. And apparently also there was some trouble because John Woo decided for the production he wasn't going to speak English and he was going to use a translator.
Yeah.
So that made things like doubly difficult. And she was saying like he did this thing where he was like, okay, we're going to switch and you play Ethan Hunt and I'm going to show you how I want
yikes.
Naya to sound. And he did it. And she was like, that just made it way worse because I had no fucking idea what he actually meant. And he was just like saying lines at me. And what was crazy is she tells this story. She went and she called JD. She called Jonathan Demme
Oh yeah.
and was like, I'm making this Mission Impossible movie. This just fucking happened to me on set today. And he was just like, oh no, like go back there and you just assert yourself with him. Like, and she totally like gave her the confidence to go back and do the scene again. But like they had to redo it like weeks later. And she was like, nothing he did like helped out at all. So I just tried to like mimic the way he said those lines at me. And that's how they got through that scene.
Oh
She
my
did say
God.
like, it's kind of interesting because she plays it both ways. She's like, that was super shitty, and he's a very intense and terrifying person, but he puts like the pressure of these movies all on himself, and he's just one of those people that like he's incapable of delegating, and so like he thinks he's the only one that knows how to do everything right with this shit, and it just makes it really hard. She said otherwise she had a great time making a movie with them or whatever, but that scene, it was like, no. You play me, and I'm going to tell you how I want you to say your lines is fucking crazy.
I mean, this is also the movie that started the rumor that he was like telling people that no one can look at me in the eyes. Like everyone has to look down. But apparently, according to the trivia, and who knows, the Church of Scientology probably wrote it and retconned this or whatever, that they kept on blowing scenes at the horse race because people would just stare at Tom
Oh my
Cruise.
God, it's that guy from Rhames. It's that guy.
Oh, hey, it's that guy.
It's that guy.
It's Dustin Hoffman's friend.
His friend.
But that rumor persisted. I remember even in the
yes.
Last Samurai, people were like saying you'd be hit with reeds for looking at Tom
Wow.
Cruise. Yeah.
I don't believe
I
that's
Now,
don't
well, you
think
never
so.
know with the diabolical church he associates with.
That's true.
You know what else he associates with in this movie? And this set the world afire. So he gets to the top of the rock, and a helicopter pulls up, and he's like, great, it's work calling. And a fucking little rocket comes out and lands in the rock, and he picks it out. And what does he pick out?
It's not a blow up one.
Yeah, no,
I like
he
that.
can just tell, like, it's not a blow up
yeah,
one.
no, it's a messenger rocket. It's fine.
I get these every day.
Yeah, it says like office memo on it. But he opens it, and what's inside for the year 2000? A pair of Oakley sunglasses, dude. And you bet your ass this movie set that afire. People buying Oakley sunglasses, including me.
And X-Men had the Cyclops wore Oakleys as
That's
well.
right, the red
love
Oakleys. Yep.
We love those Oakleys back in
Are
the
they
day.
coming back, you think?
I don't know.
Or are they staying?
They never left. Dude, if you're part of the extreme sports world, they never left.
I bet you that's if they really wanted Google glasses to take off, they would make them in Oakleys. And then I think you would really get
Right.
bump
you're
those
totally
numbers
Then
up.
all the divorced dads who look at pornography and walk down the street.
Oh, shit, really? Interesting.
Look, she's getting fucked in the ass, and I'm crossing the street.
Load previous MP4. Load previous MP4, Google.
Yeah, that divorced guy's looking at porn on his Google glasses.
Yeah, he thinks he's an IMF agent, but he's watching JOI videos. It's not the same thing.
Sir, it's JOI, not IMF, pervert. But so he
Y'all
gets,
jerk off instructions. Should you choose to accept them?
I am watching Busting Impossible, okay? I am trying to be cultured.
You have to come in 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
coming up next on Spism Impossible 3.
Oh, yes.
No, but the voice that Steve is doing is because in this movie, the leader of them all is an uncredited Anthony Hopkins
Boo.
here. Yes, boo indeed. Boo indeed.
Because
But-
it's just such a small role. And also just like we're just pumping a lot of British guys throughout this IMF, aren't we? Like Simon Pegg joins in the next film.
Well, that's why, I mean, for this at least, like he's doing his like flat Hannibal Lecter thing. Like I'm not entirely English. It's a little
Really?
creepier than that, Ethan Hunt.
Oh,
Yes.
it's creepy English.
It's a good question because is this an international or an American agency?
I always thought they painted it as American.
That's what I always thought.
Primarily
too,
American.
But maybe they recruit people from
I see.
sympathetic nations.
Well,
I
because
don't
like
know.
Pegg's character Benji starts out as just like a computer guy
right,
at Langley.
right.
Isn't the story that it was supposed to be Ricky Gervais?
Yep.
And we just the biggest
Yep.
Could you
bullet
imagine?
dodge of the century of the just I've never I would not be able to watch these.
Oh,
If-
there, Ethan! Did you know that God ain't real?
I would create so many multiverses to set that right. I would
Absolutely.
just fuck everything up.
Doctor Strange, get your fucking wizard ass up here. We got to fix some timelines.
Flash, get your fucking running shoes on. We gotta fucking figure this
They
shit
would have
out.
gotten rid of him by now, though. They would have been like Ethan would have had a line in one of the new movies, like, "Oh yeah, when he fell off that cliff."
Well, I mean,
he
that's
got
what's
shot in the head 3
Yeah.
times.
and then
They-
someone pissed in the hole.
They straight up like don't. That's what I kind of love about these movies. They straight up don't acknowledge like why or when team members leave.
Right.
You
That's
know,
cool.
we don't know what happens to the fate of this obnoxious Australian guy.
That's
in this
true.
movie.
Maybe he'll be back in Dead Reckoning along with Kittredge.
You know, next movie, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, he's a fucking one and done.
Sure.
But you just kind of assume like they've been killed or maybe disavowed or something.
Right. Hopefully, God willing, they've all been killed.
Well, wasn't it always an attempt to like find somebody? Because that was Jeremy Renner too. Them trying to find somebody who would eventually take over for Tom Cruise, who's now like, I'm making these until I'm 80. I will be an octogenarian playing fucking Ethan Hunt.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
Go
bad
for it.
maniac.
Go for it.
I mean,
dare you.
give it a shot. But like, he eventually would have to become like the John Voight.
Yeah.
He's got to I think they're ahead of the game. The Scientologists, say what you want about them.
Sure.
They probably got that Nazi secret science going.
Mhm.
He's
That
probably
could be.
got stem cells and robot limbs already.
If he's doing this when he's 80, the fucking big stunt in the new movie will be a beer before bed. I don't know. I don't know. He's going to drink that whole beer before he goes to bed. That's a pretty big stunt.
In this one, he drives a Saab after 9 p.m.
Even battling his night blindness, which he definitely has. Ooh, in this one, the big stunt is he has to not use the handicap space, but a space at the back of the lot and walk all the way to the store.
I mean, I do like Hopkins in this. Like, this is around when he's doing these kinds of drop-ins. I'm just going to add just a dose of charisma here, everybody.
Look, man, Hopkins in like the early aughts and shit. It's better than Hearts in Atlantis, which I saw in theaters.
But so he has to go find Thandiwe Newton in Seville, Spain, and this is the flamenco dancing party scene. It's pretty sexy.
Pretty
it's
spicy.
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude. I've never I haven't gotten to Spain yet. I imagine people are just having sexual intercourse 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's how they conquered the planet.
It's mandated by the government.
It's small plates and sex all day.
What do you think the fucking siestas are for, man? You go get your DS and then you go have some tapas.
And you know what it
Tapas
is,
is
Eric?
small,
You
yeah.
make fun, but it is the flamenco acoustic guitar music being
Sure,
everywhere.
you're right.
As horny a genre of music as I've ever
It's
heard.
the horniest musical genre. It has to be.
But small plates is the key, I think.
Yeah,
Steve's
okay,
onto something here.
okay.
Because you have you just eat small throughout the day, so you never really fucking heavy.
Yeah, no
you
food
that's
coma.
You
true.
can constantly fucking come and shit and whatever and
Yeah,
fuck people. And then you got that little plate to catch it in if you need to.
yeah. So, some sausages and beans and fish. Yeah. Just little bites.
Oh
bites.
God, I
don't know
do
why-
love tapas.
Condoms or a towel isn't enough for you, but you need a tapas plate to catch it.
Well, I don't know if they
You're
have
into
ta-
some weird
He
shit.
just
I don't
likes
know.
aiming.
I know they have the small plates. I don't know about their condom and towel situation. I presumably they have a few.
This is also we get when he spots Naya from like across the way. I mean, instant hornery on both sides, but classic John Woo. We're getting into slow motion, and it's this weird jittery music video slow motion that happens here. So you're essentially watching like a flamenco music video.
So like heavily digitally manipulated. Like
Yes.
it looks like the flamenco dancer is in a different realm completely.
Or it's like there's maybe a little image trail
Yeah.
kind of a thing. That's what the effect we're putting on here. A lot of the aesthetic of this movie was aped from the "you wouldn't steal a car, would
Yes.
you" commercial.
I'll
You
show that.
know what I mean? It's the same vibe.
A little bit.
This
of that.
is year 2000.
Yeah.
Period.
Which
It
is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why Limp Bizkit is heavily involved.
That's just
right.
insane, isn't it? You think
It
about
is.
it? Oh my God.
They
And
did
they was-
get Deftones. That's a point down. Sorry,
If you
John.
recall, also that video was topping the charts on TRL. Both of them.
Well, it's,
We got James Hetfield jumping off a rock. I fucking love that.
when Limp Bizkit's rocking the set, it's like Russian roulette when you're placing your bet. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
It's just how that is.
Oh,
It's just how that
I
goes.
heard that.
Oh wait, was there was a music video for the Limp Bizkit song?
Oh
too?
yes,
Yeah.
I believe the Limp Bizkit music video, and I might be conflating with another one, but I believe this is what this one was. It was like, everyone's blaming us for Woodstock 2000. I can't believe it.
Really?
And like,
Oh
it was
my
like, Limp
God.
Bizkit go to jail for Woodstock 2000.
They-
I'm in this
99.
99. Yes,
Yes.
they were blaming them for 99 in the video specifically.
Yeah.
Part of that terrible documentary sort of blames them too.
I'm
'cause
sure it is.
it's a lot of like saying like Fred Durst like didn't do anything, like he didn't get out on the mic and like tell people to knock it off or
Yeah.
whatever. But it was supposedly like their set,
Yeah.
of course, because break stuff was played.
Sure.
That speaking of light the fuse,
Yeah.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, Fred Durst, is to not get sued. If you complete this This lawsuit will explode in 10 minutes.
If you can not act like a complete asshole for 24 hours, Mr. Durst, you will save the free world.
But so his whole deal is, as Hopkins explains to him over the phone, we haven't met Hopkins yet IRL, but he's like, you have to like meet her. She's like a jewel thief, or an accomplished thief of repute, and
jewels.
So she has to be convinced to come on to help you because she used to date this dude, Dougray Scott's character here, Sean Ambrose.
Now she's into guys with longish hair who are very handsome. Now, and we think you might work just fine for this.
Also, just leave your family jewels lying out on a table, and suddenly she'll come and pick them up.
This is one of the sex ones he gets. This is exactly. Oh, Mr. Hunt, your mission, if you choose to accept it, have sex with this woman. The lady this time, she's pretty hot.
Fuck her into accepting a job.
Start by giving her kisses and then work from there.
But I do think it kind of sucks about this movie is they set her up as this cool jewel thief. We rip off out of sight for about 5 minutes, and then she's never a jewel thief again. And it's like, even Tom Cruise is like, wait, I thought we were using her for a jewel thief. And like Hopkins like, nah, she's just a lady. She's his ex-girlfriend.
Sorry, did I say jewel thief? I meant pussy. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, she's a known paper thief. She's of repute. She can take paper from any pocket that you ever thought.
Yeah, I mean that kind of she uses
that's
her
a little bit
what
there. Yeah,
it sets up like a fucking Tandy Newton Catwoman scenario, which I'm very interested in.
Oh yeah. Thandiwe Newton as Catwoman in general, supreme idea.
Sure,
put that into the
ether. I'm glad she. I mean, if anybody else is going to be in that movie, I'm glad Halle Berry could take that hit because she was so big at the time. I think anybody else in that role, it blows up their entire
would have
career.
Totally killed their career. Absolutely,
it destroys it.
I mean, it didn't do wonders for Halle Berry.
No.
So now we're seeing what would happen with Dougray Scott if he had gotten superhero.
Oh,
these
man.
multiverses.
Maybe honestly, he might have stopped all this. He might have done it.
Here's what could have happened though, and this is kind of interesting. Let's play alternate universes again for just a moment. But let's say he's in that first Wolverine movie or the X-Men movie playing Wolverine.
Yeah.
He's clearly ill-suited for that role.
Yep.
They would have, because of course there's going to be a second X-Men movie no matter what. They would have fired him. Someone else would have taken the role, and we would have stopped dead in its tracks that thing that started in the 2000s, that notion of like the same person has to play the same superhero in every movie or else something's wrong. Because nobody had a problem with that with the Batman movies in the 90s with
also,
3 different Batmans.
Because back then we rightfully ignored AOL message boards instead of making it run Hollywood.
Precisely. And I think that could have been like, oh, well, they changed out Wolverine. Who gives a shit?
Or it's like, oh, there's a different timeline now. No, it's because that actor sucked at this.
all the imaginary stuff has to make sense all the time.
That's
right.
If this happened, we would have had X-Men No Way Home, and you would have seen a scene with all the multiple Wolverines.
You would also have like, I don't know, dude, like you'd have another fucking Iron Man movie with somebody else's Iron Man, and it would have been just fine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
totally fine. So the whole thing here is like, she is going to steal. We're at a big sexy party, and she's going to steal this dude's ex-wife's necklace that he's like getting ready to put up for auction the next morning.
This is turning into a key party in like 30. That's also part of her clock. It's like, I gotta get out of here before the orgy starts.
Speaking of Tom Cruise's hair, doesn't he still have the eyes wide shut haircut in this movie?
Pretty
and
much.
that's dong. I thought the fucking piano was going to go off at any second.
This is Magnolia haircut.
Yeah, is it Magnolia hair? Okay,
I think
eyes wide shut. It's close. It's shorter. It's much shorter.
I must have been thinking of Magnolia.
Yes.
Oh, but in Magnolia, it's
long.
It's a little longer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sidney Polson, get the fuck out of here. It's gonna start in a couple of minutes.
You're gonna miss the piano.
Everybody get your robes on.
This isn't for you. You understand that, Ethan? You shouldn't be here for this.
This is a mission you should not accept.
Another great Mask movie.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Among the best of the masked movies, I would say.
So she's, looking to break open the safe that's in a bathroom. She's kind of hanging out in this tub. He drops in and he's like, it's the one all the way on the left. And she's like freaked out. We get into some sexy times in this bathtub. And I think This is the only time in this entire franchise Ethan Hunt gets kicked in the nuts.
Mm.
And it's a gentle, playful, like nut tap, but
he's
it's
into
nut
it.
Tap all the same. He's
very into whatever pain you can give him down there. He
That's
clearly
amazing.
is very
I
much.
just want a guy I can mutilate down there.
Oh man! Well, Ethan Hunt, you go find him, Eric, because he might want you.
These movies don't. Outside of this, I think, and this is why this is the horniest one, because there's sexy ladies in the other movies and sexy dudes and whatnot, but the dialogue is nowhere near as sexy as shit like "You mind if I'm on top?" and he goes, "Either way works for me." Like, which you could argue, sounds a little Bond, but like it's sexy and totally works here.
Very Bond. I mean, it's all very Bondy too,
and it's all very this is out of sight. Like this is literally
Also,
we're right on top of each other on compressed
because
space.
that was like 98, something like that. Yeah.
Mr. Wu saw out of sight,
and she's straddling the whole time, and I'm like, well, okay,
dude, she's fucking riding his face.
Let's go,
it's
man.
Crazy.
And like we're trying to push the button, the safe button, not the actual button.
Yeah, trying to find the right button to push, and so whatever. An alarm goes off, security dudes come in, and then somehow like Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt has set himself up that he is this rich guy's head of security.
He's a sneaker. He is sneaking. He is one of the sneakers because he's like, I was testing your emergency here. I just wanted to make sure if it was close enough. I was doing a report for you.
Right, but this guy knows who he looks like, what he looks like physically, because he comes in and he's like, "What are you doing? This is my chief of security. Put your guns down."
The sneakers are hired by the people they break into too.
Sure,
he's a sneaker.
I guess that's true. I think though, what this little bit of confusion is a great point to bring in. The first cut of this movie was 3.5 hours long.
Oh, baby.
And Paramount was like, you have to make a 2-hour movie. So cutting 90 minutes out of a movie is fucking tough. And you know what, Paramount? It's your own fucking fault for letting that happen in the first place. But I think that's why you have these weird things where it's like, did that guy hire them? Is there some exchange with Ethan Hunt and that dude earlier in this sequence where, in fact, that would make more sense for this dude to come in and be like, he's my chief of security? Because otherwise, how the fuck does he know that Ethan Hunt is that guy? You know what I mean?
I'm just happy that I would assume, since it's John Woo, there's just so much more blood. And
no, apparently there is. I read that there was way more violence and gore, or whatever. Maybe not gore, but blood for sure.
Yeah.
Release the Woo cut, folks.
Please,
Why don't we fight for something good in our lives?
Yes, do it now. I would love that.
And it's the famed like VHS boot of that work print or whatever. We all hate movies at gmail.com. We can be very discreet about that shit.
Oh yeah.
I want to see. It's like an hour and 40 some odd, or 2 hours and 40 some odd minutes. So it's not the full Woo experience, but I would still watch whatever that is.
We do not talk to or cooperate with authorities. That's our modus operandi over here. So send it on over.
We're journalists, so I think that's right.
That's right.
Look, how else am I supposed to see the demi cut of Swing Shift? Am I supposed to just sit here and do nothing? Absolutely not.
And if somebody has their hands in the Onania Club, that's
listen, just slide it under the door.
Yeah.
We all hate movies at gmail.com. We ain't telling nobodies.
That's right. So he's like, hey, yes, I'm checking out your work here because I want to hire you for a job. And she's like, oh, you're a spy. I don't deal with spies or whatever. And then they do get down to some fucking.
Well, the first after we rip off GoldenEye for about 5 minutes.
They just don't have the song.
Which part are we ripping off?
Oh, it's the Famke Janssen chase scene, almost beat
the
for
car
beat.
chase. Oh, right. Yeah, she's like, all right, like I'll consider the gig or whatever if you can keep up with me. And for what it's worth, this is a wild car chase. This is pretty cool.
Thandiwe is fucking driving an Audi TT, which was the pick for guys going through a midlife crisis. This thing was like a sports car from one of the safe companies.
Sure.
So like it was all over the place at the time.
That's right.
But he says to her, he calls like on some fucking hilarious looking 2000 car phone, and she hangs up on him. So he pulls up alongside, and we're yelling between cars going 90 miles an hour. And he's like, I will, I know some people at, MI6 and Langley.
And how it would actually sound is like, "Hello,
Exactly. They're having a perfectly audible conversation, but he's like, I know you got all these charges, Scotland Yard and whatnot. I can make it go away. And this is where she's like, oh, fuck, you're a spy. Yeah. I don't deal with spies.
And then they like flamenco dance, chase each other. And then like she almost falls off a cliff. He picks her up. And then now we're getting down to fucking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The weird thing about this is like her car almost goes off that cliff and she's dangling by the door and whatever. And he heroically races over and grabs her. They're still just sitting in the driver's seat of her car. Get the fuck on the road.
Well, that's part of the thrill, Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that pumps the juices a bit.
Death boner, dude.
What
There you
movie
go.
is it where, or I think it's maybe, I think it is The Simpsons when he's almost falling off the side of the cliff and he changes the radio to the, the radio dial to the other side.
Yeah, I think that is a Simpsons joke. You should have tried that here. But so they kind of start kissing a little bit here. And yes, they do fuck. She, is told about the mission or whatever. Great line too, where they start kissing and he's like, I don't know if this is the decent thing to do. And she goes, who said anything about being decent? They just start making out pretty good.
Yeah, and then he's like, thank God this little tapas plate was here. He pulls out and just collects it there and everyone's fine.
Oh, fresh shrimp. Oh, we have to go.
They almost instantly go for a round 2, by the way. I couldn't believe that. A little afternoon delight.
Because after this, in 3 and on, you're no longer really, like there's that makeout scene with Michelle Monaghan in the third one. But like he's a family man for one that it's not really about fucking with her. It's about like life beyond.
Well, and that's
IMF.
the thing, right? He's pushing towards domesticity. Like, yeah, he gets on with Michelle Monaghan in the hospital break room or whatever. But like, it's like they have that engagement party. He's living in suburbia. It's all very safe.
And Rebecca Ferguson, like it's almost like. It's so chaste. Like that's the problem. It's like everything after that. It's so chaste.
Well, he's an older man now,
I mean, they say older men are fucking more than fucking teenagers.
Really?
And these fucking
you gotta introduce me to some of your friends.
Retirement homes. They say they're just they're like Olympic Village.
But also, I guess what I'm also meaning is like Olympic Village. Those kids can fucking go through anything they want, but. Older man, you want to perform the best. It's like you don't nut before the football game. That old adage, right?
Sure,
yes. So my grandfather said that too.
Maybe I can't jump across this cliff as much if my abs hurt from fucking.
Oh, sure.
Also, it'd be great if this mission is like, this mission. No, I can't. My fucking every muscle I have is on fire because I just climbed this mountain. I need a week.
Right.
I need a full fucking week.
Do you have a tub of ice that I can lower myself into?
No, I can't do this mission. I sprained my back trying a new sex position last night.
But so Hopkins gives him the score. He's like, oh no, we're not using her as a cat burglar. You see, she's pretty much a prostitute. And
right.
Like, all right, cool.
There's a hilarious. He's showing Ethan Hunt like the footage of like Rade Serbedzija making some like diary video or whatever, and it is just the funniest. Like, this is a reminder that DVD is a new home video for because it's like. You're watching this on a DVD from the DVD player.
There is like it's like a DVD mission storage, I think it's called.
Paramount also produced those for IMF.
Now, actually, if you want, Mr. Hunt, we can listen to the director's commentary on this Rhames Serbedzija tape.
Yeah, we fucked it up. Yeah, we fucked this one up too. Yeah, we usually fuck it up. I'll be honest with you.
But he finds out here that Ambrose doubled as Hunt to do this mission. Yes. And the whole thing was he was supposed to get Chimera. And now it's like, oh, we lost track of him and the plane crashed. And, well, Mr. Hunt, would you think this guy would be capable of turning at any point? Like, yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
I'll be honest with you, Mr. Hunt. We've been playing a little grab ass at IMF, and we just kind of lost track of one of our most volatile agents.
Well, he's just some guy, really.
He's just some guy.
It's easy to forget him.
He'll blend in, disappear. He's just some guy.
He's the greatest spy in the world. We call him Mr. Invisible.
I mean, who do you think someone we actually pay attention to would get Chimera and the super virus? No, it has to be a nothing.
I do like the idea of wearing like a Tom Cruise mask on someone else.
Sure.
I would like to see them both
kiss.
I was going to say, I got distracted thinking of them with their shirts off. But like two Tom Cruises going at each other, or just the idea of like a rogue agent using this mask technology against them is cool and interesting to me.
Yeah. But it's also weird because like Hopkins basically throws out that like they do this kind of stuff just working in the IMF, like because he says like, oh, I believe he's doubled for you a few times. Yes. Is that right? And I was like, can you imagine going to work pretending to be a coworker?
It's great.
Like I just walk in somewhere wearing an Eric mask.
It would be easier to pretend to be someone else than be me.
No, I will not be eating that cake. There's cum in it. I won't
Chris,
be doing that.
There might be new listeners that are not aware that most potlucks across this great country and others, if you work in an office and they have a potluck, what happens is people from home, you know, the disgruntled ones, which is almost everyone in America. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
we let everybody
They
down.
are putting weird shit in there. You're going to taste stuff that's a little salty and maybe a couple hairs.
Sure, that makes sense.
Those are big warning flags. Also, like when you eat someone's food and they smile, little wry, little wide, little
you like it, don't you?
Exactly.
They're signaling. They're signaling to the piss you're eating or drinking. Their piss that you're eating or drinking.
I guarantee you, we've all eaten piss and cum.
I made it while I bathed.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's so many people that make food while they bathe.
So Ethan, convinces her to do this mission because he shows her like these plane crash photos, and he's like, all these innocent people were murdered, and she says something like, "Who would have interest in this?" And he goes, "Well, Sean Ambrose for one." And she immediately is like, fuck, now I know what this guy wants me for. It's not my cat burglaring skills. Yeah.
So
exactly.
basically, then the thing is like, oh, we'll make Ambrose think you're in trouble. And this, I think, is probably in that 4-hour cut. Like, 'cause this part's really choppy.
We are like the movie. Literally, you can see the tracking fast forward marks here
because it's just like, but she's like, only if I'm in huge trouble. And they show her like kind of, sort of, maybe get arrested. And he's like, oh, Ambrose will be watching it, and Ambrose will break you out of prison, which we won't see.
Yes, it's all a weird because, right. She's like, well, we just broke up like 6 months ago. He would be suspicious of me if I just waltzed back to him, So yes, Tom Cruise says something to the effect of like, well, making a lot of trouble is the business I'm in, or something like that. And it's like a shot of her getting like a mug shot taken, and then she's just on a boat in Australia going to this dude's house. And you're like, seems to me something's been deleted from the movie.
It's literally just going into jail and coming out. Like it's literally a mug shot, and then her coming out of the prison right after.
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Like, did she just go in there for the mug shot and then come leave?
Right, it was the Trump special. Just go in, get the mug shot. They let you out right after. It's fine.
Quickie. Don't worry about it.
No, they fingerprint you, but they don't take photos.
Oh, that's right.
Because they know someone's leaking that.
Right.
Immediately. So she goes to Ambrose. This is when we meet. We fully meet his crew, which is really, his crew is just, which we talked about, Tom Cruise's cousin and this dude Hugh, who is Richard Roxburgh. His whole thing is the right thing, which is like, you're really bringing your girlfriend to this? You really? We all took a pact that we were going to do 3 months, sell this virus, get rich, and then get laid. We were all on the same fucking thing.
We made the pact, dude. This summer, we were dumping our girlfriends. We were stealing an easily communicable, deadly virus. Then we're getting laid.
You don't think I miss Anita? You don't think I think about her every night? You don't think I wish I had her to bone here?
We had a pact.
I'm dedicated. You are not.
Because like that's aside from Sean Ambrose being, as we're told, a little bit more violent than Ethan Hunt, he's just horny. Like in terms of like actual character traits, he is horny this entire film.
Also a John Woo special.
We need Tom Cruise and that guy. Like he could put on a Newton mask,
Sure.
And then get it on with Sean Ambrose there, Dougray.
Absolutely.
And then I don't know what would happen after that. Maybe the fast forward and we'll figure it out.
So Tom is in the outback with his team, which is Luther Stickle, the great Ving Rhames.
Hell yeah.
And this dude, Billy Baird, who's Australian actor John Paulson, and who
they
could
fucking put care? A jacket on a kangaroo and let it act. This fucking guy, I swear to God,
is a totally nice dude, and I'm sure our Australian listeners know him from doing a lot of fun down under TV or whatever. Maybe he's a stand-up or something. But like, this is bad.
Allow me to counter. They probably don't. They probably don't know who the fuck this is.
Because I mean, like, the thing is, like, it's not even. It's the movie's fault too, because they can't figure out, like, he might be the comic relief, but we're not really committing to that either.
Oh, dude,
four lines.
This movie is begging for him to be the comic relief, and it falls on its face every time.
Scenes deleted. Scenes deleted.
Maybe he had a show off sequence in the original cut.
Like, he's supposed to, when he gets roughed up at the racetrack, like, that shit's supposed to be funny, and it's just not.
Well, there's that weird part when, like, so Tandy Newton, like, goes up to Dougray Scott, like, she kisses him. He's like, oh, that lady knows how to say hello. That's right. Better than you, Luther. Oh, not that I wanted to make out with you, Luther. Is this doing it for anybody? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll shut up for 20 minutes and then I'll have my other line that I have in 20 minutes. Honestly, and then 20 minutes from then, I'll have my last line.
John, that wasn't all 3 lines, right? I still have 2 more lines left. No, John, I did 1 line there. I'm doing 2 more later.
Look,
2 more later.
It's contractually obligated. I get 1 line per reel of the film.
My agent said one of them's in a helicopter. Could you make sure we do that? I'm really looking forward to that one.
Australia is a mistake in this. I mean, you could be there at some point, but like having your whole movie pretty much set there. We have Spain briefly.
It slugs because it's not globetrotting.
Yeah.
We're just in Sydney, and it's like, there's some beautiful shots of Sydney for sure.
It's glorious. I mean, but this was like, the Matrix film down there.
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Exactly. Let's get our leather jackets and go, which we do.
Let's get our tax breaks and go.
They had tax breaks on film productions and leather jackets.
And Aussie actors. Get them in there. Yeah. We'll give you $50 if you put this guy in there.
I love the detail of like they get out of the chopper and it's just this dude and Luther, and Luther fucking steps in shit like immediately. And he's like, oh man, these are like $800 Gucci shoes. And I was like, Luther Stickle is doing quite well for himself.
He is, but you're going on spy shoot. You're wearing fucking 800. That's on you, dude. This is not a nice dinner with friends.
Get some Keens, okay, buddy? Some nice hiking boots.
He's a computer guy. He might want to go to a fancy restaurant afterwards.
He thought he was just going to be sitting in the van or in the safe house. And Tom Cruise definitely, like, Ethan was probably on the phone like, Luther, I need you in Sydney, man. And he's like, Sydney, a great metropolitan town. Excellent. Oh, no, but the safe house is out in the fucking outback, dude. Like, you'll definitely be stepping in animal shit.
Yeah, so we have nothing to eat but koalas, and it's rough going.
I hope you like grass salad, because that's what we're going to be having.
Luther, most of what he does in this movie, there's so many shots of it, maybe I think 3 I counted, where he's getting there. He's in the helicopter at one point, and he just jumps back into it, like falls backwards into the helicopter to avoid gunfire.
Yes.
Multiple times. You can just see his slacks and his shoes go up in the air.
Gotta get lean. Gotta get lean going.
He's a leaner.
But so immediately Dougray Scott does that thing where it's like, I bought you a sexy dress. I'd like to see you in it.
Yep.
And she's like, she gets naked and she's about to put his like, I didn't mean right now. Let's get down to fucking.
And it's like, all right, so I'm getting fucked for the 3rd time in this movie.
Great.
Excellent.
Okay, and we're 25 minutes in.
Yes.
This is when Hugh Stamp has a real fucking problem, because it's the next day. They fucked. She's totally sleeping.
This dude listened to all of it.
Exactly. And they have a business meeting, a crime business meeting, where it's like, hey, this is where the drop is going to be. And Dougray Scott, Sean Ambrose, has the gall to show up in a sex robe.
Oh, yeah.
And you know nothing is on underneath it. He has not washed his balls since.
Oh, no.
He's just he like probably got fed oranges 3 minutes ago.
It would not be, look, it's got to be a power move. If you wash your balls, it's not a power move. He's got to smell. He's got to smell
They are thoroughly juiced. He knows what he's doing, and I applaud him for
it. Damn. I feel for Hugh, man. It's like, he's like, listen, Sean, can we have one business meeting where I can't smell smegma from across the table?
Oh, why don't you do something about it?
Because that's what it
smells like. I'm at an office potluck over here.
Somebody bring in some buffalo chicken dip. I'm smelling something.
Oh, you're liking that guacamole?
I made it with my smegma.
I've collected it for months.
Old family recipe.
Ew. But yeah, so
people do it.
Dougray is not thrilled about Hugh bringing up lady friend.
The way he brings it up, because like they have the meeting, it's like, all right, we're gonna have the big. It's like, oh, we're gonna do the drop off tomorrow at the horse track or whatever. It's like, oh, great, that'll also be a cool date for me and my girlfriend. And he's like, you know what, dude? Like, I gotta bring this up. You know, she left you 6 months ago, and she wasn't exactly gagging for it then.
Interesting slang, is it not?
And this is, oh, we've got the nasty nail there. And then he's got the cigar cutter. This scene's pretty awesome.
It
And he's
rules.
like twisting it. And
Also, he's not wrong. That was a pretty nasty fingernail.
It was.
Well, look, hey, the man has cultivated a nice coke nail, and you're
Yes,
just
that's
going
true.
and chopping it right off.
I think that's part of it, dude, is he's like, I thought we had a discussion. No snorting coke anymore.
You got a real spoon there on your pinky.
You look like Harvey Keitel in Taxi Driver.
I swear it's for tapas. I the tapas.
To get some more sauce.
I stab little pieces of anchovy off bread and eat it.
you know, you can really carve through a prawn with this fucking pinky. Don't worry about it.
Slice it right down the middle.
But it is great because it ends with he's got his pinky in the fucking thing. He's like, you never do. He's like, maybe I know she might be a Trojan horse and blah blah blah, and maybe I want to go for a couple of rounds first. And then he goes, because I am gagging for it.
Excellent. And he
He throws
pushes
it back
down
in
on
his-
those
it's-
chompers,
I am
dude.
gagging.
This
for it.
it's the one scene. I imagine they did some preliminary like discussions with De Palma,
Sure.
and this was the one scene that stuck
Yes.
from his first discussion.
Now, so he's got to say he's gagging for it. Remember that. We got to talk about gagging a lot.
Now you gotta understand, the pinky is the penis. He's cutting off his penis, is what he's doing there. And I mean, this is just natural stuff with villains and their number twos.
He's circumcising his subordinate right there in the room, you see.
That's exactly how it's done. Circumcision. Yeah. Some Aussie heavy grabs you and puts it in a cigar trimmer.
I mean, he is the worst. He's the worst villain in this franchise, but that's a baller move.
It's a charged scene of so much of this just glides by on like
Yes.
just action movement, but like
Sure.
this is an actually charged scene where I'm like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, you used to take time to like build the relationship between the number two and the villain and have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Now it's just kind of like, do it. Yes, sir.
I think, again, because we're missing 90 minutes of a movie.
I really want more. I mean, give me 2.5 hours here.
I would do it.
And usually I say the opposite, make it 2 or less.
John Woo, you can give
But
me
it's-
as much
it's
as you
John
want.
Woo, and there's clearly something that went wrong.
At the story level, like go back and
Yes.
give me a 2-hour movie that works. How about that
Right.
instead? Like,
How
I would
about
like that.
I'm thinking reshoots.
Yeah, probably.
So we go to the horse track.
Yes.
And this is like Naya's got the earpiece in and everything, and she's able to communicate with Ethan here. And we are doing like the most obvious, we're two spies talking to each other
Jesus
at a racetrack
Christ, yeah.
because like they're like no one is used. I'm sorry. I gotta harp on this because Chris and I grew up around racetrack culture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You guys used to bet on it all the
No.
time.
Oh, yeah.
No one is using binoculars to look up at the grandstand. Okay.
No.
So, like, the fact that Tom Cruise is standing there with his spy binoculars looking up, clearly having a conversation, like, you don't need to see her, dude. I know
No.
she's gorgeous and you just fucked her brains out twice 48 hours ago.
Yep, there's my real estate agent. Yep, and then I think that's the guy. Yep, that guy robbed me once. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him since. I'm gonna go get that fucker.
But so, they observe that there are some photos on a digital camera that this Dougray is showing to a very disgruntled Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, yeah.
Who I totally forgot was in this movie. And I love that he gets fucked with so hardcore later in the film.
He's high up in the cast, too. Like, when it started, like, rolling, I was like, Brendan Gleeson.
Oh yeah, baby.
Totally.
I could use more of him. I know
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need it for what he is in
Yes.
this story,
I
but
need a little bit more of that chest hair.
just another little scoop.
I could take a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
But some of the photos that he's showing him are of like, so people are photographing like large sums of money and sending it to Dougray Scott. In this case, it's 37 million pounds, saying like, hey, this is our offer, 37 million pounds to buy the virus.
Mm-hmm.
And Gleeson is this dude, John McCloy, who's like the CEO of this biosite pharmaceutical company that developed this virus. Slash,
blah blah blah, crooked something around.
Crooked man that only wants money, sort of.
Money.
Yeah,
it was made in a lab and by big pharma, so that they can control the antidote. That's what we're doing in this movie.
We are.
That is what we're doing in this.
It's what
movie.
we're doing.
But
in
I
this
feel
movie.
like Trump would have that Irish lab. You can't imagine. You know that the Irish were behind this.
The Lucky Charms virus is coming over here.
And what is Joe Biden? Irish. I rest my case.
Look, what we have to make is an Italian coalition. The Italians and the Germans. That's never worked. Oh, well, it has worked before. In a very interesting way, it worked before.
I love, and again, I understand this movie's 23 years old, but it is amusing to me looking back at quaint technology that was like amazing in like when the movie was made. And so it's like he's got this heavy duty high tech digital camera with a memory card that's got 32 megabytes on it.
And the thing is as big as an iPad.
Oh, it's huge.
No,
You can beat someone to
it's
death
not
with
big as
this.
it's as big as it's as big as binoculars itself. You know what I mean? Like
It's a huge camera.
chunky
Thomas
thing.
Edison designed that thing.
That camera is big enough to photograph an elephant getting electrocuted to death. Absolutely.
By the way, I would have loved that stunt. Maybe Tom Cruise flipping over an elephant in this would be very good. Speaking of flipping, he does crazy flips in this, like flipping completely up and backwards just to kick some guy while he's already down.
He does an honest to goodness Guile from Street Fighter flash kick in the middle of this movie.
That
great.
is the John Woo stuff because like Ethan Hunt didn't fight like this before and he never fought like this again.
No.
There are so many fucking bicycle kicks
man.
Jumping through the air, double chest kicks.
That's the stuff they should have kept. The close punching stuff, like it gets better as the movies go on.
Yeah.
But like this is just so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
so her thing is basically she has to go. She pickpockets Dougray Scott to get the memory card, brings it down to Ethan Hunt. Meanwhile, Hugh whatever is following her, but then in one of his 2-3 scenes, Bobby Boyd or whatever the fuck,
Billy Baird
breaks his finger one more time, and it would be great if Hugh killed this guy thinking he was an usher, a clumsy usher. That would be fucking amazing.
Oh, I'd love it. He just cuts his throat right at the racetrack, and that's the end of the character. Ethan, we're down to just me and you on this team, man. Got it, Luther. No problem.
We can keep going. I think we can keep going.
I
Billy
don't
would
think
want
so,
that.
John. I got 2 more lines left. Nice try, Mr. Wu. I've got 4 lines in this movie, and I've only spoken 2 of them.
It's in me contract.
There is it's so hilarious. There's a great detail here where it's like Luther's looking through the photos that are on the thing, and it's showing him like how the virus attacks the cells in the body, and showing Rade Serbejia's coworker, this guy Gradsky or something, who had the virus, and it's like Gradsky at 24 hours, Gradsky at 36 hours, whatever. All of these photos are like property of the pharmaceutical company, not for public display. Here's our fucking horrible virus, and we're fucking watermarking them with our logo.
Yeah, not the best idea.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're very worried about corporate espionage.
But so she goes, she has this conversation with Tom Cruise, like down, on the ground, like she goes to place a bet, and Luther does the transfer here, and then so she's going back to put the card, in the envelope back in Dougray Scott's pocket. And she put it in the wrong pocket. And I think what you're supposed to believe here is that when she was trying to do it and put it in the pocket, she grazed the nipple with her knuckle, and he was like, ooh, she fucked me. Got it.
Here's the thing. You don't have to be a genius pickpocket. Just grab this dude's dick. You won't feel anything else. You can do whatever else you want with his other pocket.
Well, she does try to do something similar as a distraction, right? Because when she goes to put in the wrong pocket, she also puts her other hand in his pants pocket.
Yeah.
At one point, as like, that's during the original pickpocket.
That was the right move.
Yep. And you know what? No dude is going to be like, she was touching my dick too much at the racetrack. Like, pull that move again. Just grab that Johnson and get the thing back in the right pocket.
It's always the other way. You're not touching my dick enough at the racetrack. It's always that way. That's how it always
I
ends
believe
up.
that is my favorite poem by Charles Bukowski. It's one of my favorites.
We're at the racetrack and she just wasn't touching my dick enough. Then I went to the OTB and someone there was touching my dick enough.
I'm so glad we went to this reading.
I'm so fucking horny.
Genius.
Then I threw up in the bathroom.
That's what poets should be.
Absolutely.
Oh, just total fucking train wrecks at all times.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we do get a little more with Gleeson as McCloy right here. It's him leaving the office and just getting driven home in a limo. God, fuck these pharmaceutical people, man.
This is when he gets gassed and visited by the ghost of Rhames Serbedzija.
Yes.
Which is hilarious.
Carmela.
We did it together. He's like, I'm a little tired, but clearly not dead. And I'm like, yeah, Rhames Serbedzija, more of you.
Absolutely. There's a weird, I think it's like, since watching the Martin McDonagh movie last year, I was, I guess, focusing in on a little more of it now. But like, so Brendan Gleeson, like, he's smoking a cigar in this limo and he's trying to roll the window down, and they want to show you like, oh, the windows are locked on both sides. And you're seeing Brendan Gleeson's sausage fingies just trying to roll this window down. And I was like, ooh.
That would choke a donkey right to death, my friend.
Those are some donkey choking fingers.
Oh, yeah, a donkey couldn't digest those.
Andre the Giant couldn't digest those. You kidding me? That thing?
One time I cut my finger off and fed it to a donkey.
I think I have that in the collection.
Legend.
No one does it as good as
So yeah, but this is like they're duping they're fooling this dude again to get information about what the motivation here. And it's kind of funny because he's like, yes, my name is John C. McCloy and I'm the CEO of BioSite. And yes, I created that virus. And yes, I created the antidote to make money. Here is my address and social security number.
My name is John C. McCoy. See, my character does have a name. You didn't think he did, but I do.
And then like Tom Cruise is like, I've seen enough. But meanwhile, what's happening is Thandie Newton is kind of trying to escape the facility where Dougray Scott is, and then Tom Cruise like grabs her. Is like, we're gonna be fine. You're like, oh, it's Tom Cruise. But then Rhames Serbedzija takes his mask off. It's Tom Cruise. You're like, uh-oh, it's evil Tom Cruise. And he's like, I just need you to stay here for a little longer. Also, by the way, you're gonna have to eat his ass. Yeah, it's me, Ethan Hunt. Part of your Mission Impossible mission is to eat this dude's ass.
Because he is straight up like, and by the way, you have to do everything Ambrose tells you. It's just like, what?
I know he asked for his birthday, your anniversary to eat his ass, and you've always said you weren't into it. But now you've got to be into it. Millions will die.
Even if he refuses to wash, you must do it for IMF.
Oh, that's part of the kink.
It's just,
refusal to
I
wash.
think this is just, we're badly editing two scenes together to save time and trying to make it look like.
It's like tension. Oh, which one's the real Ethan Hunt? Which one's not?
But it still plays confused.
It does,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I would love more actual tension.
Yes.
Like that De Palma movie
Yes.
is wall to wall tense moments.
Incredible. That's why I kind of think it's more important to see the scene with Dougray Scott underneath the Tom Cruise, because that, I mean, for whatever else in the character, that is supposed to be a real heartbreaking moment for this villain, and like he's supposed to have a moment of like fury and hurt and stuff. It does work, like, and that's more interesting to me than this like, well, here's some plot that you needed.
Yeah, it's a ton of plot.
Here's some stuff that we didn't say.
The funniest line that Brendan Gleeson has when they make him think that he has Chimera. That's the whole thing. And it's Ethan as Rhames Serbedzija, like, I have that antidote, but I'm not going to give it to you right away or whatever it is. And fucking Brendan Gleeson screams at this dude, "I need it now, you whacked out Russian gypsy."
Yes.
Fucking great.
But so now Ethan Hunt realizes, they never had the virus at all. They've only had the antidote, and that's meaningless. So they're going to try and steal the virus. But you know what? We'll destroy the virus before they can get it. And now Dougray Scott's like, but Ethan Hunt is going to. So it's kind of like we know each way. And like this is kind of, like, he's not going to go through the bottom because that's going to be too many guards. He doesn't want to shoot people. He's going to do some aerobatic nonsense.
Yes. And this is all really cool because it's like, you realize it's Hunt going up against a true equal because he knows, like, he's not wrong at any step of this.
Right.
Like, it's the exact plan.
Like GoldenEye,
very much a GoldenEye.
006, and then also this wire work here of jumping down into this facility.
Which this is really cool. It's a little computery, but this is some tension with like, we're going to open these vents, and if you open them at night, you only have 40 seconds to close them before the alarm goes off. So Ethan, you have to jump out of this helicopter, and then Billy Outback has to get the fucking cable up before the 40 seconds, or else, I think Luther's got some line like, not even I can get this security alarm off or whatever.
And it's cool, but it is a little bit like Remember the Last movie?
Yeah,
remember the Last movie?
I almost want more of this because just like getting in through the facility is kind of interesting. We kind of get in there, and then suddenly he's at the lab, and then the guns come out, and it's like,
that's like the John Woo movie takes over here.
But that's also just the difference of like, De Palma likes showing you the process of him having to vote very low. This is computer digital shit all when he's going down the chute. It's fun at the very end when he has to put himself up.
He's dodging the dudes in the lab. That's pretty cool.
He does some good flips, and like that's what I liked. With Cruise clearly put in the physical work to do some of this stuff.
Doing this stuff. Yeah.
So that's what I like. But like, the tension of that whole scene just kind of gets cut in the middle, and also because when he goes down, Billy Baird from the copter screams, "No rules, just right."
Yeah, that was a crazy line.
It was a weird one. Yeah, it took me out of it a little bit.
Hear me, Ethan?
But it's funny because he has some line about like, Ethan Hunt would rather sacrifice his own life than harm one hair on a security guard's head, and it cuts to like Ambrose and his team coming, and they fucking murder that security guard like immediately.
Which I think is in your fabled 2-hour and 40-minute cut, because we cut away from killing the security guard. I was like, no, I want to see this guy get lit up.
I think there was some brains splattered across that desk that you don't see. Absolutely.
Maybe the Matrix had a suit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's also it's
oh wow, filmed in Australia and a big massacre in the lobby of an office building.
Interesting.
It is kind of hilarious. So Ethan's whole thing is he has to destroy the virus. And he does he does 3. There's 3 in this area, and then 4 more in the other area, whatever it is.
There's 2 places he has to go, like the incubation chamber where they're making the virus, and then for whatever reason we have 3 loaded needle guns that also have the virus in another part of the lab.
He does the incubation chamber really easily. And
Chimera stock terminated,
and then it's like, all right, I'll just needle gun 1, boom, done. Needle gun 2, boom, done. Needle gun 3. Wait. Oh my God, I'm getting a plot beacon. Flashback of Serbedzija.
I'm thinking about stuff that happened in the movie. No.
Like, just fucking push the button, you asshole. And even when you hear the guns going off, you're like, okay, cool.
Yep.
I have will of steel. I'm fucking scaling red rocks without any gun. You can push the button and then forget it.
Well, Steve, don't you know? I mean, it's a theme in the series. Is like he gets too personal, and he has to. So he got personal with Rade Serbedzija. They knew each other. Yeah,
because that is like what's. It's so dumb because
they do each other on fake name basis.
Well, right, Dimitri and Vlad.
Yeah. Right. Dimitri, I love you, Dimitri. But like his flashback is of my good buddy Dr. Whatever must have been standing right here when he injected himself, because he does piece something together right here. Is like, you can't just take it out of the lab or whatever to transport it so it can stay alive to get it to the next location. He must have injected himself with it. Which is the only time you get, because in the first movie, he does the great thing with Voight, where the editing tells you Ethan is figuring it out, you're seeing his thoughts or whatever. This happens like that, but it's like not as well done at all. And it comes way late. It just doesn't work the same way. And you're right. This dude has heard a gun go off before, Steve. Like, he should have just been like, oh, fuck, let me just destroy this and then kill those guys.
Yeah. The piece, like, what makes the story work has never been John Woo's, like, interest.
No.
It's how it looks.
No.
And this is a pretty fun sequence.
It's totally fun. And also on the outside, my favorite shot in this movie. So, like, some dude, you don't even see who because the movie doesn't care, but you probably should care a little bit. Yeah. Some mysterious individual, some bad actor puts a bomb underneath Luther's van.
Oh, Dougray Scott did that?
No, it's some guy.
Oh, okay.
This guy, you only see his hand.
You said bad actor.
This guy named Ray Doug Scott. And he was like, I got to get in on this.
But my favorite shot in the movie is Luther looks out the window and he sees the reflection of the bomb timer in the puddle on the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
And this is the fastest Ving moves in this whole franchise. Oh, fuck. And he's trying to grab all the computer shit before the bomb goes off.
And there's something important here, which is, like, there's one computer in the world that knows where Tandy Newton is at all times, and this is the one, and it kind of gets blown up here a little bit. So that becomes a plot device in about 10 minutes. But
yes.
But yeah, they dare scare you into thinking that Ving was killed in this movie, which
don't do that.
Fuck that. Don't play around with my heart like that.
I love that man.
Big shootout here. Dougray Scott's like, yeah, whenever I pretended to be you, the difficult part was grinning like an arsehole every minute.
He's nailed.
Like, you got me there, Ambrose. I do like smiling.
What's the deal with fucking what is auditing anyway? What are those cans for, dude? I mean, I tried to fake the funk once, but I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
They lost me at Space Lord.
Yeah, I'm angry. I'm fucking supposed to be. I'm a human being. And yes, I see a psychiatrist.
Oh boy, those are two big negatives.
They don't like them people.
They hate those people.
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Kirstie Alley never appeared on Frasier.
Mm-hmm.
Because he played a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, real stupid.
She was a hardliner.
Oh yeah, big into it. I think Travolta got her involved.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So it's also revealed right here. Oops. Naya's been taken hostage. There's a weird, he's like, come on out here, you bad girl.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
because again, like, this is the great cat burglar. It's like, now she's just kidnapping.
This is one of the biggest, I'm not trying to onk through the whole movie here, plot hole, but there's just one part in this sequence where Ving is just like, oh, Ethan, look out, man. For whatever reason, Naya just walked into the building. Because, like, she also has a tracker on her, like Steve said, with the computer that he's using can see it. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
And it's never explained. She just rolls up to the office building, the pharmaceutical building.
My assumption was that Dougray Scott brought her there.
Right?
Yeah.
But she isn't with him until, like, because Ving has some line about, like, she just walked into the building or something.
Like, I imagine, like,
waiting in the car.
We're killing people and you have to follow us in, kind of a thing.
Sure, but
I would like to hear that. Yeah.
I gotta see it or hear something, man. Because her just showing up like that, I'm doing too much, mental backflips as an audience member here. You know what I mean?
I think John Woo's idea of, like, backstory and all this stuff and, like, story in general, it can be summed up in what Ving Rhames says. He's like, well, the red dot's about to meet the yellow dot.
Yes, exactly.
and that's going to be bad. That's going to be a bad situation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But she, in another baffling move, is like, oh, wow, if the gun with the virus is hanging out over there, and he's like, go get me my virus. And she goes, and for whatever reason,
don't eat it. Please don't do that.
Because I think Tom Cruise is he's going to kill you the second you give it to him. It's like, I know, I'll inject myself.
Well, because he needs the virus, and as long as her body is alive, the virus is still alive, and it's the last bit of this virus. So it is kind of like it'll keep me alive, but now it also is like, oh, the movie could have ended, but now because you did this, the movie will not end.
Because now you have 20 hours until you can't be cured, and yes, we're just gonna rip off Last of the Mohicans. I will find you, stay alive.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But instead of jumping off a waterfall, he just jumps out of a building with a parachute, which is fucking rad.
That's his way.
But yeah, so that whole scene is probably the best sequence of the movie. I mean, this end fight is also pretty good, but we get to the big rocky cliff compound here at the end.
And also, this is where the Typhoid Mary of Oz. Of Oz.
Oh, right.
Remember, we're in Australia. I don't know if you remember this, Miss Newton, but you're in Australia.
I really feel like someone should be wearing a Film Australia shirt at one point.
Yes.
We're kicking it off. Ozploitation 2.
But
Flim Australia.
Andrew, you're getting towards the climax here with the big fights.
Oh,
really
yeah.
good stuff. The
Great
motorcycle stuff, I love.
Fantastic.
You know what's crazy though? I seem to remember when this movie came out. I mean, it wasn't super well received, and a lot of people gave the motorcycle sequence shit because of like when they run at each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, watching it today, I was like, nah, this is awesome.
It doesn't make sense, but it's fun.
Well,
Of course it doesn't.
Well, because I think what we've seen, especially over the last couple decades, is like action cinema being more respected as a stylistic art form. Like all the Tony Scott reconsideration came from this thing.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there were people. So like stuff like this. Yes, it doesn't make sense, but stylistically, it's exciting.
This is very true because like action film was always treated as so much lesser.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't believe the day we saw, we didn't go see it, but Total Recall playing a film form. I never thought we'd come to that consensus.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I mean, Paul Verhoeven, great director and stuff, but I
Incredible.
also feel like even those movies in the 80s and stuff weren't as like now I think of RoboCop up there with Citizen Kane, but it was not the case.
No, because it was. I mean, it was everybody was going through this. Like the slow stuff was what was being like contemplative stuff.
Yeah.
European basic stuff was what people are after. And then what happens? Taiwanese new wave, Scorsese becomes more of a big thing. So fast cutting, fast movement all of a sudden becomes an art form itself, and people reconsider everything.
And you have like RoboCop. There's in a lot of the better ones, there is a pill in the peanut butter. You know what I mean? Which is whether it's capitalist critique that you're not gonna get because you want to see a movie called RoboCop. You know what I mean? Like there's two ways to watch a movie called RoboCop. Is either that shit ain't in there or that shit really is in there, and you are figuring shit out as you watch it. You know,
It was all of a sudden like a movie going like jumped a whole leap in visual literacy, and it was like, oh wait a second, those movies were saying shit. It's the same with horror. You know?
Definitely.
You know, horror is easily cast out that way.
I'm sorry, you're fucking stupid. Horror only started to become elevated, I think, in 2015.
Whenever Hereditary. Hereditary was the first real
It was the
horror
first
movie.
horror movie to ever be about something
And
other
then-
than being spooky scary.
Devil, when the devil rode the elevator, that's when we got the elevated horror. That's when it started.
Horror is going up.
Dude,
and
how is
comedy?
that not part of the fucking ad campaign for that? Like, this summer, horror is going up. I love that the start of this too. There's more free climbing here.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, thank God I saw him doing it at the beginning because I would not have believed him doing it.
Oh no, he's a Tommy Sue.
He is. I mean, and we've talked about it a little bit. He is kicking the shit out of people, and like to the point of like, dude, I'm down. Could you stop kicking me in the ribs?
No, it's not enough for him just to like knock a dude out with like a roundhouse kick. He then has to throw his entire body weight into a circle into the air and then come down on him with
land on his ass. It's
Dude,
like,
it
great.
is he's pulling like luchador moves on these guys. It's wild.
Yes,
awesome.
I was unconscious, and now I have a crushed lung. Okay, congratulations. I liked it first the better way.
I gave up, and then you need me in the stomach.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool kicking here. Meanwhile, Dougray Scott has Brendan Gleeson. He's like, listen, because the whole movie is there's like 37 million pounds. Like, that seems like a light little thing for what we're doing here. But actually,
he doesn't weigh 36 million pounds. That's the rudest thing I ever heard you say.
I mean, first of all, that's funny. Second of all, no, it's not.
I know.
no, the British pound.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But no, it's also, yes.
Actually, I'm 36 million Irish pounds.
Oh.
No, he's not.
No,
He's not.
He's
He's really not.
He weighs as much as I do.
But those fingers will fucking choke a donkey. Dude.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. So would
They
mine.
actually get thicker when it gets wet. So, when
That's
they're going
true.
down.
like a
there's
sponge.
Yeah.
It absorbs.
You can't help it.
Remember
Yeah.
those sponge toys? when you were
Yes.
kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Making little dinosaurs and whatnot.
Yeah, they got
That's
big.
right.
They were great. They also smelled quite a bit. Which
Yeah,
was
they
unfortunate.
were
great.
Very
they were-
distinct odor.
So like he's like, oh, when you give me those $36 million pounds, I will then invest in the stock market in your company. Hostile takeovering you, and now because of this pandemic, I'm about to start plandemic.
That's right. That's
Oh,
what
yes,
this
of
is.
course.
the stock of this corporation will go up, and I will be a billionaire, and blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, at this point, Naya has been taken to somewhere in Sydney, and he's like, this girl's gonna launch off and make all these people really fucking sick. And there's a really funny John Woo centric line that happens here. Did anybody catch this? When Ethan is like, Luther, do you have eyes on Naya? And he goes, Ethan, he's got her somewhere in Sydney. To which Ethan Hunt responds, somewhere in Sydney? Care to harden the target?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in Sydney. Yeah, that's the whole movie.
Do you want an egg, Ethan? Yeah, hard boiled.
Oh, wow, you're going head to head with that motorcycle, Ethan. Yeah, it's a real face off.
Yeah, and that guy riding it, it's a real killer. So look out for that guy.
Oh shit! I broke my arrow. It's a broken arrow.
Or maybe it'll be better tomorrow.
It sounds like that breeze is chatting over there. Real wind talker.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wind
Yeah,
talkers.
that's
You'll forget about wind talkers.
You
will.
certainly will. But not John Woo, who did it all for the paycheck.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, nobody
Oh.
wants to hear that one.
Well done.
Nobody wants to be reminded.
That's a stay tuned.
And a half, dude. Also a fucking unfortunate. Saw that in theaters.
oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
The stupidest Ben Affleck movie before the movie Hypnotic.
Oh, right. You recently watched Hypnotic.
Oh, it's so dumb.
I can't wait.
dumb.
Anybody even know direct that movie?
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Even worse news.
Yeah, yeah. But so like this is happening. Ethan is kicking his way through the facility.
We got the doves right here, of course.
He does say, "Don't worry about worst case scenario. Naya will take care of Naya," meaning she will kill herself before she's allowed to be a pawn in his
yes.
game.
That's a good way to think, Ethan.
Yeah, Naya will take care.
Look, we should be putting 100% into this. But if not, she'll kill herself. Don't worry, guys. Keep, just remember.
He's at least not wrong though, because she is contemplating throwing herself off that cliff.
Well,
and
she
getting
is,
ready to
and
do it.
she just read a couple of Victorian novels before this one. She is throwing herself off the moors into the fucking splashy
Absolutely,
water
dude.
below.
She was just missing a big weird dress to wear while she tosses herself off. Absolutely.
The stakes is high, but low high.
Yeah.
Not the highest high.
Yes, we get the doves, and this is when it's a John Woo fucking gasm with you get the dove, then the explosion and the flaming door, and the dove goes through the flaming door, and here comes Ethan Hunt, and you are also seeing it in CGI in Sean Ambrose's eye. Holy shit, John Woo, relax.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is like this is just par for the course with that dude, but I think so many people that's saw Mission Impossible 1 and were hip to go see another Tom Cruise movie, but maybe weren't as hip to John Woo movies, were like startled by it, or I mean, a lot of people made fun of it and whatever, but it's just like it's just what the dude does. It's like if you never saw a Spike Lee movie and then you saw him do like the double dolly and you're like, what the fuck is that? And it's like it's just in every one of his movies.
Is Malcolm X floating? Does she have superpowers?
Precisely.
I wish he did.
So there's the big fight here with Ethan and what's this dude? Hugh. There it is. We get this big fight with them.
Yeah,
and this
Hugh is the European and English version of Hank. Kind of, right? In the North America, we got Hanks walking around. Hughes are in obviously Australia, Great Britain.
But yeah, Hugh does a raise your hand very slowly, and Hunt's like, got it. Grenade time, which is fucking great. And this grenade goes off, and then we cut back to the room with Brendan Gleeson, and in comes Hugh carrying Ethan Hunt
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, something doesn't seem quite right with this.
I love this scene. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but
it's kind of
it.
funny because like Ethan as Hugh is like, oh, I broke his jaw. That's why he's not talking. Yeah, that'll do.
He also broke my kneecap, so I'm 7 inches shorter now.
And my clothes fit really differently.
Let's go for a baggy look.
But it's an interesting Dougray Scott line here where he's like, this is what's known as getting your gun off, and just fucking shoots this dude Hugh.
Hey, Hugh, one quick question. If I were to go to a therapist, what would you say? And he starts sweating.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing I don't understand about any of this is like, if once I knew that the mask tech was as it is, I would just be cutting faces just to make sure.
Oh, yeah,
like, I would just be
definitely.
like, okay, this
Sorry,
is a big thing.
Right?
Look,
It's like you search him for the gun and then you put a razor across their cheek.
just like a little one right here, maybe in the beard if you have a beard.
Or I think an easy tell, just check for sweat. Because those masks don't have sweat glands in them.
Yeah.
Excuse me, here. I'm going to have to grab your face and grab it and see if it rips.
Right. So they shoot the Ethan guy who's actually Hugh, and now Hugh, who is Ethan, is running out of there.
Yes.
And it's
With the Bellerophon.
antidote.
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, it's kind of awesome because, it's a nice bit of writing here, pays off, even though the finger thing is cool at the beginning of the movie. Dougray notices the fucked up finger on quote unquote Ethan Hunt and flips the fuck out. And that's when he turns around and it's like, oh wait, that dude that was totally behind me stole shit and then ran out the door that's in front of me and I didn't see it. Fuck.
Son of a bitch. Dominic Purcell, you get on him.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. The
And keep your mouth shut, too, by the way.
the camera is never closer than like 12 feet away from this guy.
Yeah, you're like, is that? And the answer is yes, but it's just barely.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, and also, boy, does it not matter. Yeah.
No, sir.
He's got to be Australian, is my guess.
I would wager. But so this is the real serious woo action comes in here. We get this awesome fucking motorcycle chase where like all these cars are getting blown up. I love when they're like, Luther, you got to, Ethan's like, Luther, you got to clear that bridge. And like these dudes are shooting at him and Luther fucking missiles this car and it goes off the bridge.
Objection, Ronin, Your Honor. This is a little too Ronin.
And I'm sure before that, an action movie had a fucking rocket hit a car off.
You know what? You want to remake Ronin?
I'll be cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go
Just keep
for it. I don't
making
care.
I
Like,
fucking dare you to remake
please be influenced by good art.
Yeah, it's Ronin with Tom Holland.
Oh, man.
That's right. I'm a spy or something. Here I go. Okay. I'm going to pass out now.
I gotta pass out now.
What color was the boathouse at Yardley? What color was it, you son of a bitch?
God, I would maybe watch that. Like, ironically, because it would be awful.
Sure. I mean, I do think it's cool when he does the break and the smoke fogs up.
Yeah.
And then he hit by the fucking truck. That is pretty fantastic.
That's pretty baller. I mean, I like all the like making the motorcycle stop on the front wheel and doing a 180 shooting people.
Just these wheelies just to show off. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. He's really fucking hot dogging it out there.
He is hot dogging it.
This is the first like sequence. This is the first one where you have sequences on motorcycles, right? He's not riding a motorcycle in
No, I
the
don't
first
believe
one.
I don't think so.
I mean, so that's fucking industry standard with these movies.
Oh,
You
yeah,
bang
that's
your
right.
asses on a
Gotta go on that motorcycle, yeah.
But yeah, all of this is really great. I love, there's two great car accidents that happen here. One is the car that gets rammed by a Mack truck out of nowhere.
That's the truck that has Tom Cruise's cousin in it.
That's
He's
great.
Like, eep!
Yeah.
And then there's another one that like they kind of run off the road and it runs into like a parking lot.
Yeah.
And just slams into a row of parked cars and flips up and like explodes in the air. There's just no substitute for practical car explosions. Vin Diesel, sorry to tell you.
That's very true.
Then we just end up on a beach.
Beach fight.
Yes.
Beach fight. Well, we joust each other with motorcycles, which is absurd.
Right.
But
you-
it's cool as
I mean, it's a
fuck.
John Woo movie. I get it. It's
you drive
absurd.
at each other as fast as possible and you both jump off and grab each other midair. It's awesome.
I mean, it would be cool if they're like, you want to do what we did in the academy, but for real? And he's
Oh,
like, oh,
sure.
yeah, motherfucker.
That would be a thing, dude. Like they reference it like earlier in the
Yes.
script somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Where
and
he's
the-
having one of his other monologues or something.
In the big version, they had like a 30-minute flashback of them at the academy.
Sure.
Oh,
And like
shit.
it's living in the same dorm room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Doing motorcycle hijinks, putting the tie on the door. That means don't come in.
Ethan was always trying to study for the big exam, but Dougray Scott was like fucking ladies all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Cheated off him on the big test.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
right. Yeah,
His
exactly.
big spy test.
Yes. He would get really high marks for doing that
Yes.
because that's part of being a spy.
That's true. I was able to get this leaked information. Dude, that's some
Exactly.
James T. Kirk shit, man.
right.
Yeah, Dougray Scott gets an A+, and Tom Cruise gets a B- for studying. It's like, you should have actually done it the other way around.
Why didn't you cheat?
But it's a really cool and brutal 22-minute fight.
It's really wild. We're just beating the living shit out of each other. But this is where we referenced at the beginning of the episode. There's a knife fight that, breaks out here.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise insisted on using a real knife for this.
Yes.
Including the shot where Dougray jumps on him basically and tries to shove the knife into Ethan's eyeball.
Yes.
And we wanted to do this get the knife shot, the hand coming right there.
Yeah.
And any fucking practical person would be like, okay, we're going to start the shot with the knife right by the eyeball. And then Dougray, you whip your arm away really fast.
Reverse it,
and then
yeah.
we'll just reverse it in the editing room.
Sure.
No. He's making these motherfuckers measure out precisely.
Yeah.
This is the length of his arm, and this is how high he's going to be sitting on my chest. All four. I mean, the way
And
that
there's
it
a
winds up
cable,
getting
I think,
cut.
too, that's
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
cable so it wouldn't go too far. But he still was like, no, Dougray, you got to jack your arm down as hard as possible. I'm sorry, man. Georges Méliès was doing camera tricks in the fucking late 1800s. Do one here. It's the biggest waste of I could stab this dude in the brain.
Oh, you know,
due to
actually, and
realism.
also, sorry, one of my best buddies is Michael Massey, whose life was ruined by the crow. So I'm
Yeah.
not doing this, Tom Cruise. Thanks for. I don't want to live with putting a fucking knife through your eye.
Yep.
Well, he's
No,
not
no,
going
no.
to get hard if you don't do it that way.
That's a good
So
point.
either you walk or you do it.
But God bless him. He's doing it for real.
Yes.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
He is doing it.
I mean, hanging onto a plane as it takes off, sure. Jumping from a high altitude thing in a fucking spacesuit, sure. All of that, I get the practicality. This is a thing that is solved with a very simple camera trick. And it's not, all right, look at it this way. It's not like it's a thing where it's just this wide shot where you see him the whole time, bring the knife
Yes.
down, blah, blah, blah. It's all heavily edited.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't even tell. So it didn't matter anyway.
And I guarantee you, in the grand tradition of all Mission Impossible movies, there was a Teamster that was just like, wait, we can't break for lunch? No, because we need to redo it because Tom is going to do it himself. It's like, well, we could just do it. No, hope it fucking kills him. I guarantee you, in every single movie, some Teamster warily in the back is just like, we're not. Hope it fucking. You know what, dude? You want to be a big shot? Hope it fucking kills you.
Oh, what's that? Oh, I got to work on a Saturday? I hope it fucking kills you.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise is also thinking that in his
Yes,
head.
yes.
Please do it.
I think that is really what he would love to do, is
He
to
would
die
love to
mid stunt.
Finally meets Shelley Miscavige.
I'm coming for you, Shelley. It's the big one. I'm coming, baby.
It's the only way to get her back. We have to go up to heaven.
It's like, why is it that every time we make a Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise is screaming like Red Fox and Sanford and Son? I have to say, though, the ending of this, as far as villains getting it, kind of sucks.
It does. Well, because
Yeah.
it's a double deflation. Because the first time,
Yes.
he kicks him off him after the knife thing, and he hits his head on a rock, and there's this thing where he must check his pulse, and he's like, oh, he's dead, and he leaves him alone
Because he's laying there with his eyes open,
Yes.
and Ethan's kind of he
Okay.
checks it out. Yeah.
and he leaves, and then he goes. Meanwhile, Thandie Newton comes down in the helicopter. It's like, oh man, they have the antidote. Here it comes, and then here comes Dougray Scott alive again, and he's got a gun. He's like, you should have killed me. And then it's a cool jump kick thing that he does, but
you get a couple good things because
Yes.
you get Ving gets out of the helicopter
Yes.
to get the antidote.
he gets off his ass for once.
And he he's got the great, because like Ethan thinks the mission is over with, and like Ving's got a great like facial reaction, like, oh fuck. And Tom tosses him the antidote, and then he like kicks the gun up in the sand and turns around and does a big John Woo fucking jump and fire, and it's fine. But like in the last movie, a helicopter fell on John Voight. Yeah, pretty rad.
Yeah, he just gets like shot in the chest 3 times. Like I at least need a cool headshot.
Something.
Like,
or I'd need to see him have the virus in him and like explode in a contained room.
Like what's his face getting the green balls shoved in his mouth in the rock.
I'm going to choke my money out of you.
I'm going to gag my money. Yeah, I mean, he did get sexually humiliated pretty intensely.
Oh, that's true.
I give it that.
So, whatever. Luther gives her the antidote for the injection, and we get to sort of the outro of the movie where Hopkins... This is fucked up, where he's like, I believe the mission was for you to bring back the virus alive. And I'm like, what nasty shit were you planning, motherfucker?
Oh, they figured it out 20 years later. Don't worry about it.
But, as promised, Naya, her record is cleared of all charges, yada, yada, yada. And then it's like, Mr. Hunt, what are you up to now? Are you having an old friend for dinner?
That's like eating her out, right?
Yes, Eric.
And that's what we do. That's the ending. Well, they go on a kissy vacation.
It's kind of funny, though, because he's like,
Kissy
I'm going on vacation. And there was this whole thing about, like, at the beginning, Hopkins was like, you got to tell us where you're going on vacation. And Cruz is like, well, then it wouldn't be a vacation. It's like turned around. He's like, I'll be sure to tell you where I'm going. No, then it wouldn't be a vacation. But it appears as if they're just going on vacation in Sydney.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe because it's the best place of the world. Why would you ever leave?
We wouldn't dare film anywhere else.
Yes.
It's just credits.
It's kind of weird. Like, go to a beautiful beach in Australia. I'm sure there's plenty of them. Like, have that.
Make it look a little different.
But it's just this park, and then there's like a crane shot where it comes up and you see like the beautiful opera house and everything. And I'm like,
someone in the crowd would be like, isn't that the guy that was murdering people on the beach yesterday?
Yeah, I saw him. He kicked a gun up and shot some poor man.
Yeah, the beach killer. Yeah, he's right there. Get him.
It's the motorcycle marauder that's killing all those people in traffic.
We're killing people in traffic and trying to steal their gasoline.
The last line of the movies, they start making out, and he says, let's get lost. And then Metallica kicks in.
Hey, yeah.
Very unexpectedly.
Here I go now.
Because somebody actually listened to the Limp Bizkit songs. Like, oh no, and then it'll end with a bump, bump. No, did you actually hear it? Did you ever hear that guy sing? No, it's the music is great.
The guitar is excellent.
Yeah,
but there's another guy. He's always wearing a red baseball hat. When that guy opens his mouth, we got to get this out of the movie.
He's not the Nookie guy. The guy who said the Nookie song.
Oh my God.
I thought we just hired the sad clown to jam out that tune.
Jim Boy, one of the most disgusting developments in all film in the 21st century there was Limp Bizkit getting cut out of Mission Impossible 2. They just had the sad clown play his guitar there, but before the genius mouth of former President Fred Durst gets open, he starts spitting his awesome rhymes. They just cut it out, put in Metallica.
It was supposed to be the opening of The Rapping President.
Oh, God.
A new series for AMC.
Yeah, okay, Bones. Why don't you check their vitals?
Let's get back to doctoring here, please.
Exactly. We got 3 bleeding Klingons right in front of us. Can we get to that, please?
But that is the end of this movie. We'll go around the horn here. Final thoughts and recommendations. Chris Cabin.
Good movie. Not the best of these. I think it's just a matter of probably the 2.5 hour version's the version I would like more. I would imagine what is missing is more. I think there's just stuff missing from this. Yeah. But it works more or less for me as a Mission Impossible movie. All the stunts work. Tom Cruise, I love you, man. I know you're insane, but that happens. I like all the little things John Woo is trying to do, like the idea of like a Chimera and the Bellerophon was like a tale people told each other. It wasn't written down by. So that talks to me about like what Mission Impossible was trying to do. Like, Here's a version of this. Here's John Woo's version. Here's Brian De Palma's version. Here's J.J. Abrams' version. And I think he does a good enough job here. It just didn't. It doesn't have what Mission Impossible has. The first one, it just doesn't.
Steve Sadak.
Yeah, it's a light recommend. I wouldn't call it a good movie. It's always a kind of just right in the middle, and like it's straddling because there's enough fun action here. It is. I mean, I do think really now more than anything, if someone is like, "Why should I watch Mission Impossible 2?" I was like, to understand the year 2000. You put this movie on, and you will understand exactly everything that was going on from Y2K up until September 10th, 2001.
You're right.
That is where we are. That's what this movie is. And it's interesting in that regard. But other than that, it's sort of like, it's definitely the weakest of the Mission Impossibles for me. It doesn't have the stuff that I want. I still think my favorite Mission Impossible is the first one. See our Patreon paywalled episode on We Love Movies.
Oh,
on that guy.
I'll hop in and say I would recommend all of these movies. I'm sure I'll recommend Dead Reckoning Part 1 when I see it next week. It is probably my least favorite, but it's my least favorite in a string of, I think, pretty good to incredibly great, action espionage movies. And, check out the filmography of John Woo to sort of get it a little more. There's also that.
Bullet in the Head, fantastic movie.
Great movie. The Killer, great movie. Also, speaking of that Bones McCoy thing, story credit on this movie.
Yes.
Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga.
Yes.
I saw that.
Nice.
Which is kind of weird. The screenplay is credited to Robert Towne, who did the first one, and, Chinatown and a shit ton of, huge movies. But I thought that was kind of interesting, and I'd love to know
what's
their
there.
contribution,
Yes.
if anything at all.
See, the pinky's like the nose. It's just like that. It's just
That's
a little
right.
cut. It's just also because the nose was the penis as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
the Robert Towne thing. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
But final word, Eric.
Yes,
Siska.
I don't think I'm going to say anything different. It is my least favorite, but I still like it. I would lightly recommend it, or just regular recommend it. If you're watching these, I don't think there's a reason to skip any.
No.
If you're I'm going to watch the Mission Impossible movies. Watch them all. First one is my favorite, and yes, what an excellent episode. That is on the Patreon. I still enjoy it, but it is the weaker one for me. So there you go.
There you go. And that is going to do it on this episode on John Woo's Mission Impossible 2. Yes, as we mentioned, patreon.com/We Hate Movies. Not only can you get a We Love Movies episode all about De Palma's Mission Impossible, you get a metric fuck ton of exclusive bonus content you cannot get anywhere else. So head on over there, a bunch of different tiers, a bunch of different shows. Check it all out. Patreon.com/We Hate Movies. Now here on the main feed, as we say, the Summer Blockbuster Extravaganza continues, Steve, with what motion picture?
Next week, we are going back to sappy Teenville with American Pie Part 2.
Nice.
And we're going to be joined by our good friend Angelica Jade Bastien.
That's right. So big week here on We Hate Movies coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We did American Pie 1 last summer, so that's kind of a new thing going through the franchise in the Summer Blockbuster Extravaganza. I'll say this is one I have not seen in a long time because I saw it in theaters and disliked it immensely.
Oh, well, we got to catch up for American Pie Dead Reckoning.
Part 1.
Part 1.
Exactly.
So until next week, where we're going on summer vacation with a bunch of real creepy dudes, I've been Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siskel.
Chris Cabin.
Take it easy.